3, 2, 1, let's go.
All right, we're back, and it's been a while. The last one was what, a Christmas special or
Yeah,
something?
yeah.
Whoa. So this is the first episode of 2025.
2025,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Might be, yeah.
So
The last one was with Charlie, our nurse.
yeah. Charlie.
I know Charlie from Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
I,
Shout out
I-
to
I-
Mighty Noipi channel.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
I don't think he remembers me. Like I got to know him because my friend, Champ Peralta, Champ, the big guy, beard muscle.
Okay. Yeah. Champ, I met Champ before.
Si beard muscle.
Yeah.
I
Super
messed
strong guy.
Yeah, I messaged him one time, like I was saying, bro, can I, may alam kang pwede mag-jiu-jitsu kasi gusto ko mag-focus sa jiu-jitsu kasi I was training for MMA.
Okay.
So it's mixed.
For
So
sure.
then he linked me up with Charlie. Then we went to
Nice.
they have this place in,
Makanhan.
in Makanhan.
Yeah.
Then there, I started there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is he back in the States
He
now?
went back to
Yeah,
Texas
so the
for a
last time we went around 3 hours, I think.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah, I saw that guest niyo siya. Like
Yeah.
I watched it. Episode.
Honestly,
That
we
was fun.
probably could have talked for another 3 hours, to be
Yeah.
honest, because he's into fringe topics,
I was kind of tipsy too at that time.
Oh, you guys were drinking.
I was drinking.
You were drinking. Okay.
Now I'm sober, so
All right. Good to
So,
be
yeah.
sober.
yeah. So yeah, welcome back to Tata Time. I'm Papa Loy,
Papa Ben.
exploring the world of fatherhood with philosophy,
Fatherhood,
science, spirituality, and what else? Anyways,
everything
today
under the
we
sun.
have the special guest. It's been a long time coming. We've been planning this for how many weeks now? It has been postponed. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things that have been happening. So finally, we've made it. Ben, would you like to introduce our special guest today? Do the honors, please.
Yeah, Koi, we met probably through gyms, right? I mean,
I met Ben through Coach Aaron first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were like in the same class. Same class in morning, like
Yeah,
the 8 a.m.
the-
class.
Coach Aaron, the fitness
Flyo.
coach, right?
Yeah,
Ah,
plyometrics. Yeah.
So we were in performance lab team first.
yeah.
Then I saw Ben transition to calisthenics, and I was like,
You're very active too.
yeah, that was the time that
Boxing.
I needed to get busy. I was like going through motions. I had to release. So anyway, so going with that, I met Ben. Then I got curious in calisthenics because it's good to try a lot of things.
Oh, yeah?
Then that's why I was curious, and I messaged Ben about calisthenics. Then
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
and then that's how
let's
we got to talk more.
Yeah, and then a few months ago, we met as well, right? That was when was that?
That was last
November
year.
or
Yeah, it was
something.
like-
I want to
was last
say it
year.
was November because that was like one of the. No. It had to be
Or October,
I
maybe.
think December. Oh no, October was your birthday,
Mm,
which was
okay.
the first time that I went back to Bible study in decades.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
okay.
after that, I think that's when we met here.
Oh yeah.
I think it was after that. So
I
that
see.
was
That was with
November probably.
Doc.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So,
Shout out to Doc
Yeah.
Marcos. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wish you would have been here. It would have
Yeah,
been
would have been awesome.
Yeah, we'll have to do that one of
yeah,
these
maybe
days.
one of these days, God willing. So
Yeah.
so we're gonna talk about a lot of things today. Hopefully, we get to express some ideas, especially with fatherhood and with regards to you guys are both homeschooling, right?
I'm not.
No.
Was it Doc, right?
Doc Marcus,
Yeah,
yeah.
Doc
he's the one.
Marcos
Okay.
is the pioneer
Okay.
in our family for the homeschool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was homeschool is very very controversial kind of thing, right?
Mm.
When you when I heard, to be honest, when I heard Marcos was like putting her daughter to homeschool, it was really like, of course, like, are you sure? I'm gonna the typical Filipino, like if it's not part of the routine or the usual things that the
Yeah.
flow ba, tradition, like there's a resistance,
Yeah.
right? So
Especially from the missus.
yeah. But they were really like keen and like they really pushed, and it when I saw like the fruits through how they train their kid, or how peaceful they are and how effective it was, and like my preconceived judgments from homeschool
Yeah.
Mm.
was
Yeah.
like, whoa, I think he's onto something here.
Yeah, it's a different perspective.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
different perspective. Though.
Maybe since maybe that's a side topic, can you give us like what's fatherhood at the moment like for you and in your family at this time? Like, what are the things that are you're concerned about in terms of fatherhood? What are those kind of focuses in your life right now? Kind of paint the picture for us. What's fatherhood
All right,
today?
for me, fatherhood right now is like one of the things that I'm investing in. Like it's I when I started. Being a father for me is very important because you're you're responsible of taking care of this kid, not just like taking care of them, like giving them their needs. Aside from that, you have to mold them
Mm.
and teach them the rights and the wrongs, and it's kind of challenging because I never. I'm not gonna say that I didn't have a good childhood or not, but
Mm.
I wasn't like raised the same way.
Sure, sure,
So
sure.
like um so this is like so different from how I was like being raised.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing to observe in your life when you want to do something differently. Maybe not necessarily because it was such a bad one, but maybe there were aspects that you want to improve
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
Mm.
and
It's not.
that's a good endeavor, right?
Yeah,
For
yeah,
any father.
yeah. So basically, like the challenges of being a father is like having this like responsibilities to be a good example.
Sure.
Yeah.
That was one of the hardest things.
Yeah,
But it's so easy to say,
Yeah.
and because they look up to you, like
yeah,
because like I see this from the movies or like from what the pop culture like
Mm.
where you see like broken families left and right,
sure.
and you
Mm.
see the effects on it on the kids.
Oh yeah,
Like when I started to see the cracks like of a broken family, or like when absentee fathers,
Mm.
and the
It's very
effect on
common.
and
Mm.
its effect on the child, not just on the movies or not just in the TV screens, but I also saw it from my friends,
Mm.
okay.
from my
You mean
cousins.
like your friends' parents?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And the effect on them.
Yeah,
So
sure, sure.
like I never saw that before because I was living with them. Like I was like enjoying moments with them. Like I was so like worldly in a sense.
You mean
Mm.
when you were younger,
Yeah, yeah. I
Mm.
was like I never.
without a family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't have a family yet.
No, I was single.
Okay. Oh
Like
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
I was like when
of
I
course, of
was
course, yeah.
not no responsibilities yet,
Did you
right?
always plan to be like a dad one day when you were younger, or
Yeah.
like
I, ne-
no?
I always thought like cause I was the last one to have a kid in our family. Like since
Oh really?
I was the youngest, so I when everyone all of my siblings had like kids, like I was like their favorite tito or something.
Mm.
Not
Ah,
saying that I'm really their favorite, but
sure,
I'm
sure.
like the tito who always plays with them,
Yeah.
brings them to places.
Okay,
Plus,
okay.
they always make you take care of them when you're
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
who's like
yeah,
single, right?
yeah,
It
yeah.
happened to me
Then I
too.
enjoyed it. I just want to be like the the cool trying hard to be the
Yeah.
cool tito.
Yeah, but on the flip side though, I mean, you get to learn from them, right?
Yeah.
Watching your siblings, um, taking care of their kids in a way, kind of like observe them. So also from my experience, like, is I was the last one as well to have kids and get married, so I got to at least observe them from a distance and then make adjustments along the way. I'm not saying my ways are perfect or better than them, but it does have an advantage being the last one,
Yeah.
having to observe them and then make adjustments along the way. I can do something, maybe perhaps something similar to this or something different.
But it's nothing compared when you actually have a child.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I realized. Like
Oh yeah.
like there was this like there were times when I have this like my nephew, one of
Mm.
my nephew, that I brought him to Manila, just me and him.
Yeah.
Like it's like just me and him. He was like still around 5.
Oh,
Like
wow.
I was able
Really?
to bring him to Manila. It's like
Really?
we
Just
were
the two of you?
yeah, we were like really good buddies.
Mm.
Then me being worldly and stuff, I brought him to different places like where we hanged out, house of my friends, even
Mm.
to bars and parties. That's very it was me before, so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was like it was like looking at it at hindsight, it's like wow, not good,
A 5-year-old
not good,
going like
not
bringing him
good.
to the parties and
Yeah, then
stuff.
like my friends were carrying him. Of course, he's a kid, dude. Like he needs
Yeah,
to
yeah.
sleep. Then it's
Yeah, yeah.
like 2 in the morning. We had to go to a friend's condo
Mm.
and another friend's condo. Like
So
so.
you're saying like you probably wouldn't have sent your own kid with yourself at that time.
Yes, yes, I realized.
But I think those are the good those are observations that show that we've matured as fathers because maybe we came from a mentality totally different. Like if you I had told myself when I was in my 20s that if I could travel back in time and tell myself you're going to be a father, and not only that, you're going to be so involved into it that you're going to enjoy it so much. I'd be like, that's not
Yeah.
even possible. Like you must
Yeah,
be crazy. There's
yeah,
no way. There's no way.
yeah.
I absolutely was
Yeah.
was sure that I was not fit for fatherhood. And then here I am, like so concerned
Yeah.
about it now that we're like sitting around doing
Yeah,
a
yeah.
podcast
About fatherhood.
Talking about
Yeah.
fatherhood.
the different development stages from where your daughter is now from obviously being a baby. There are different things that you have to be
Mm.
concerned about, like a lot of the doctors and professionals advice is like if you can get to age 5 and nothing serious has happened to your kid, then you're probably in
In a
you're
good
good
spot.
for life,
Mhm.
in terms of major problems.
Mm.
What are the kind of like the concerns these days for you in terms of like your child's development as a family? Like, where do you see that at the moment?
Concerns. My main concerns is like not having time to spend with her. Like that's my main concern.
Mm.
Because I know that I keep reading this article. Like I read this to some. I forgot. I can't really quote what book I read it. It's
Okay.
a parenting book. That after 10 or like when they reached around the age before they go to transition to being teens,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
they slowly detach from us.
sure, sure. Yeah,
So like this is the best the years from 0 to 10 are the years that we have influence on them. It's the time that we get to mold them or like spend time because during those times we are their world.
Mm.
sure,
Like they
sure.
look up to us, they
Yeah.
want to spend time with us. And I've seen this in a lot of like um testimonies from other parents as well. Christian parents,
Mm.
doesn't matter if it's Christian or not. They all had this like thing na if when they were asked if you were to go back in time, what would you do? All the fathers answered like similarly. They said that I could have instead of focusing on work, I should have spent time with my
Mm.
kids.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Because now
This
they
was like a survey or something like
no,
that.
it wasn't a survey. I've watched tons of like
Yeah.
testimonies of
Yeah.
Oh, I
fathers,
see.
dude.
Okay, okay.
Like I'm such a fan of like watching other fathers like win in life,
Mm.
and I want to learn from them. So
Sure,
I keep
sure.
watching like different, and even though that they all have their different backgrounds, different stories,
Right.
but they have all these common things that they wish that they could have gone back in time when their kid was like 9 or 10, wanting you to stay beside them and read them their bedtime stories.
Mm.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because
yeah.
now
Okay.
their kids are 18, 20, 21.
Yeah.
Like now the dad has the time to
Yeah.
spend time with
And
them,
they'd rather be with their
and-
friends or
Yeah.
something.
and they can't. The kids won't spend time with
They
them.
can't get
Yeah.
So
past.
it's
Unfortunate. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
can't. So for me, what I realized is like what always came back to me is like the only valuable thing in life, or the time is the most valuable thing. That's
Yeah.
why I really like understood now. Remember the are you familiar with the during our I don't know, during me in grade school, there's no social media yet, no everything.
Yeah, yeah.
There was this like autograph notebook.
Yeah,
For-
Mm.
from your from your
From your
classmates or friends.
classmates, yeah, kind of like
Then you
what do you
write
call that
there,
before? Yeah,
autograph.
Yeah.
I remember it's
Yearbooks and
something
stuff.
like that. But
yeah,
there was a
it's a
word,
special
yeah.
because
Mm.
the owner of that book like
Scrapbook or something?
it's like a scrapbook
Yeah, something
where
like
you
that,
put
where-
where you put your details and
Uh-huh.
stuff.
Uh,
Then you put there your motto.
Yeah.
okay.
Then that's what's the most like every time I read the other.
You still have those until now?
No, I don't have those, but
Ah,
I
okay.
signed.
Okay, so you signed.
I signed to my classmates,
Mm.
and I read the
Okay.
other testimonies there from my other classmates, and the most common phrase is "time is gold."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they heard it from somewhere or
Mm.
something,
Sure,
but
sure.
it resonated. Going back into hindsight and realizing it now, time is indeed gold.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Mm.
we have limited time here, like limited
Yeah.
time with our kids or limited time with the people around us.
Mm.
So
Oh, yeah.
we-
Absolutely.
and these are the times that we can't waste because we can never get them back.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say it's probably even more valuable than gold, right? Because I mean, it's you literally cannot get any more of it every
Yeah.
second that we continue to live, right? So especially like you're saying at these ages, and our daughter is kind of at that age as well, where we're not that far away from the teen years, and that's kind of like the
I'm afraid if
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one of my.
I've been telling
yeah.
the wife for years now. I think since she was 8 years old, it's
Mm.
not that much longer until she's gonna want to hang out with more of her friends,
Yeah.
and we're gonna be less important, at least in her perspective, right? Regardless of what's the reality, the perspective of teens is that they're going through a lot of psychological
yeah.
changes,
Mm.
right?
Or
Yeah, they're-
hormones.
yeah, they're getting a broader perspective of life. They're questioning lots of things. So we have to expect that we are now taking a back seat in this place that they call world in
Mm.
their view, right? So they're going to be broadening their views, and they're going to be exploring different beliefs
Mm.
and values,
Mm.
and that's scary, right?
But is that my question though would be, is that something that's unique to our times, or was that the norm way back then?
I think it's the norm.
I
It's
think
just
Yeah.
it's norm. It's the normal thing. It's just different the way our parents like
Mm.
dealt with it.
I think cultures all over the world have different rituals or ceremonies
Yeah.
to like enter like let's say a boy gets entered into manhood.
Yeah,
right?
like some tribes would even
Yeah.
let their kids be bitten by that tribe in
Africa.
where was this? Africa? Yeah, probably Africa. I may be wrong,
the
but
ants.
yeah, the ants.
Yeah.
Those
Oh, yeah,
those
I seen a documentary. Like
those
that.
ants with
Gnarly,
the
dude.
big the big
yeah.
I think I
what do you
watched that. In
yeah, and
Discovery
for them to be
Channel.
Yeah,
able
yeah.
to enter
Looks so bad.
manhood or something,
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
have to undergo that painful process.
Sure.
Which is kind of ridiculous for us. I wouldn't subject my child to that, but
Yeah.
that's the norm for them. But for
Yeah.
us, it's different, right?
It might be a debut.
Yeah, it
Debut,
might
right?
be a
Yeah,
debut.
debut.
Which I don't really like, man. It's
Or
like
for the Jews, it's like their bar
Right,
mitzvah.
yeah, bar mitzvah. Yeah,
yeah,
I was
that-
about to say that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean,
Rite of passage.
Yeah, the rite of passage.
I think it's somewhat normal, right? And it's like something like you leave the nest, but eventually you come back,
Yeah.
right? So you have to find maybe there's a lot of corny things. Oh, you find your meaning in life.
Yeah, finding
things like
oneself.
that.
Follow your heart.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
if I do that, I'd be dead.
Yeah, that's true. I did that. Like one of if there are things that I can like go back to or like fix during my teenage years is I was too influenced by movies. I was really a
Yeah.
fan of
Oh, yeah.
movies. Like
Yeah, me too.
like I'm so fan of movies that I took up filmmaking. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
did
did?
you?
Yeah, I did. That was
Interesting,
one. That was
yeah.
one of my first
Mm.
courses.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
Where'd you go to film school? Or
In Benilde.
oh,
Lasal.
nice.
Yeah.
Good for you, because I always wanted to go to film school. I just didn't have the opportunity. Nice. How many years did you?
I
Or how
was an
semester?
undergrad because I was already working on my third year.
Nice.
Wow.
I was working in this like small production company in Makati where so I was way over my head doing back those. Like I didn't need school anymore because I'm working. You know
Mm.
that kind of mindset.
Yeah.
Oh,
Instead,
okay.
I should have just finished it.
Yeah, sure.
So Yeah, going back, like
Must've
if
been
I were
fun.
if I were, I thought it would be fun.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I
Okay.
thought it would be
Yeah, yeah.
fun, but
It's fun until it's work, right?
no, it became empty afterwards.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
it became
really?
empty. It during those times was really one of the like turning moments of my life when
Mm.
I started to rebel. I was in this like crazy relationship that back in Manila back that time.
Okay.
And like I was too influenced by the world. Like, yeah, that's okay. You could be this, you could be
Yeah.
that, or like,
Mm.
and I thought a lot of things were normal. Ah, that's just normal. It's
Mm.
okay to do this,
Mm.
and because of me believing in that and confirming it from the movies I watch,
Ah.
Mm.
I started to rebel against my
Yeah.
family. Like I
Ah.
rebelled. I ran away from home.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah, I
really.
did.
Wow.
I ran away from home, even though
Prodigal son mode.
yeah, I did. I ran away from home for no reason actually.
Mm.
Really?
Yeah, just to think of it right now.
Yeah.
I was just like making up an excuse, like
Sure, sure.
sure, like I'm making up an excuse, like
Mm.
they don't understand me.
Yeah,
Mm.
Yeah, they don't understand me.
okay.
They don't know what I'm going through. They always think about themselves, like those kinds of selfish things.
Yeah.
And I that's why I don't want my daughter to go through those kinds of things, but
Mm.
I
Mm.
can't stop that.
Mm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I could like if I were to go back, I wish I had a more vocal. I was guided to the right direction during those times because I really needed guidance during those times, and that's what I
Ah,
missed.
okay.
So
I see.
that's what I realized that I missed.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if there were like if I was not really to the point of being forced, but just like
Mm.
talking to you, like you know, it's like telling you na this is if you go to this direction, this is what's gonna happen,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
or like giving me
But
it's
I wonder too, because you know, there, like we're talking about that. Is it repetitive that we go through those things, and maybe to a certain degree, the parents really don't understand,
Mm.
because we can get, as parents, we kind of get stuck in kind of like
our own
our
ways.
yeah, in our
Yep.
own perspective.
Yep.
We project a lot, right?
Mm.
And that's a difficult thing, because we're being a parent is the highest form of responsibility ever,
Super.
yeah.
right?
Wow. It's
So
great.
when you have that kid that wants to explore things, maybe we don't understand that, because we want to put them in a
In our-
safety bubble.
Yeah.
We want them like where we can control
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Leash.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. Short
Yeah.
leash. All right.
And I'm sure for every generation there are different concerns,
Mm.
right? Like I was having this conversation with I think a common friend we know, see Jerome, where he's like,
Yeah.
us as parents, we're worried these days that our kids are going to get kidnapped for their
Mm.
organs,
Yeah.
or someone is going to traffic them somewhere,
Yeah.
because it's so in our face.
And it's not an irrational fear too, because it's happening.
It is-
right?
It is happening.
But I mean, there were things in the past that were also caused our parents to be fearful
Mm.
of whatever it is, right? So maybe we don't understand, because we're not those teens anymore. We're not those
Mm.
young people that are trying to explore this crazy world.
The recklessness is
But-
gone.
Yeah, the world was still crazy before.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we can say it's more crazy because we're more exposed to the craziness, but it was always there, right? I think at least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So maybe to some degree, what you're saying is true, that maybe they didn't understand, and maybe that's something that is difficult for us to accept as parents. It's like maybe
Mm.
maybe we don't understand something, maybe we're being closed-minded, and that's
Mm.
that's a
Yes,
really difficult thing, and how it affected you, how it affected us as their kids, to be kind of like almost shut out in a way, or at least
Yeah.
that's how we felt at the time.
Yeah.
So how do we change that going forward? And that's a difficult.
Yeah, that's a
question,
tricky
right?
part, and because last episode we did touch on that subject a little bit, sort of like the spiritual evolution of our journey as individuals. Now that we're parents, we have other responsibilities, so now we're like doing this balancing act of
Yeah.
how do we raise our kids. I wouldn't want my kid to be just like me.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Right.
That's,
So we're trying to navigate this
Right.
this path to something higher than us. At least that's what we're trying to achieve, right? Because if we did it our way before, then they would just be following our path
Right.
to
right.
to that
Our lost path.
yeah, down to the deepest darkness you can come up with. So, and the tricky thing is, it gets harder though, especially with the environment that we are raising them right now. The current environment that we are in. So that's, I think, something that we can touch on, especially with what's happening with the world today. It may seem, yeah, it's safer because we have technology. We now have better medicines, right? Supposedly that would that would address some issues, but still, from what I've been observing so far, I think we're heading down a really dark path, from where our society is going. So it's kind of like scary in a way. Like I'm gonna be raising my daughter in this world.
What's something that you're concerned
A
about?
lot. Like I can talk
you-
about it.
Your main concern right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Like, what's a big one?
Well, right now, I think I sent you guys an article, right? It relates to persecution. I don't know if you guys read that news where I assume we're raising our kids right now in a sort of Christian way, right? So it's kind of like in an
Amen.
all-time high. So it's not really getting on the news for some reason, and then because we're pretty safe here in the Philippines in a way, not all, but since I
What's the
assume
summary there?
95% are at least in a way Christians by identity.
Okay.
So, but in other parts of the world, they're getting slaughtered.
Mm.
Like that
Okay.
that news I sent you in the Congos, 70,
okay.
including kids, were beheaded by uh, the forces of darkness
Uh-huh.
or against that. And we're going to be raising our, I don't know what I'm going to be raising my in the world, if it will be the same. So it's really scary in a way that I would have to be preparing not just them but myself for that kind of reality. So in a way, that's one of the greatest challenges I have at least for now encountered. It's going to be difficult. It's going to get difficult, I think, and because I see it happening. It's just we're just living in a relatively safe environment for now. So I hope not, though. I hope I'm wrong, but that's one thing that bothers me, like keeps me awake sometimes all night. Like, okay, how am I gonna do this? If it's what if I were there? Right?
Sure. So I guess it's safe to say
I went just went
you're-
dark all of a sudden. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
you're not
It's
moving.
fine.
You're not moving to Africa, I guess.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm not
Yeah.
moving to Africa. No way, man. I'm
Visit,
fine here in
just a, what about
Cagayan.
just a visit?
We may be a
For
third world
vacation, right?
You're
country.
going to the safari over
Yeah,
here.
we may be a developing country. We have a safari in Cebu. I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
Just,
there's
you know,
different kind of lions over there.
I understand your where you're coming from. Like,
Yeah.
we want to protect our kids or
Oh, yeah.
like especially me, our daughter, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Girls,
Absolutely.
like
We're all
so
fathers to
so
daughters here.
yeah, so our girl dads,
Mm.
as
Girl dads.
girl dads, our job as like dads is we protect the cub, right? We
Yeah.
want to protect them from all
Yeah.
the pain, from
Uh,
all everything.
yeah.
But when I started reading the Bible, like I went to the Old Testament part, man. If you said this time was crazy,
Yeah.
those times were
We're crazy.
crazier.
Exactly.
yeah.
That those times, especially when Sodom and Gomorrah. If
Oh,
you
man.
heard- if you if
Okay.
if you, if
Okay.
you heard like fragments or parts of that story,
Mm.
like people were so wicked. Like even the fathers, like there was like this story of the angel
Mm,
who went there to get Lot out.
mm.
Like if you're familiar with
Yeah,
Lot,
yeah.
Lot is like
The wife of
the cousin of Abraham, cousin or like nephew
Uh-huh.
niya, like nephew niya. So the story of this is like when Abraham was pleading for from God to like can you please spare Sodom and
Mm.
Gomorrah? Like if I find like 30 righteous people there,
Mm.
would you spare the city? Then like God says, yeah, sure, find 30 people
Mm.
there. Nah, that's faithful to me. So they tried to find one. Zero.
Yeah.
So like so they then pleaded again to God, like
Nah.
Lord, what if we
Yeah.
find like 10?
Yeah.
The number keeps
He's like negotiating.
He was
Then God was-
bargaining.
because God already knew that city
Yeah,
was
yeah.
so wicked. Like
It's so lost.
if ever you
But he
find
was hopeful at least,
one, yeah,
right?
he was hopeful. So God
Yeah,
allowed,
right.
give him the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you find some, I'll stop. I'm not gonna destroy the city.
Yeah.
Till there was like none. Like yeah, so the angel already came. So like Abraham, well, I think went with them. They went to find Lot. Then when they went to Lot's house, people saw.
The mob.
People saw that they knew that that guy was an angel.
Mhm.
Somehow they knew. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Like somehow they knew. Then so they knocked on the door. Hey Lot, open the door. Like open the door. It's like I saw an angel come in there. Bring him here. We want to have sex with him. That's how wicked those like that
place.
Yeah.
place is. Like
They tried to fornicate with the angels, I
Yeah.
think, right?
yeah, they want and they knew that it was an angel.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what Lot? No, there's no angel here. Here,
Yeah.
you can get my daughter. He
Yeah.
threw his daughter
Mm.
out, dude.
Damn.
To get so na rape yung that's how crazy those times are. If you think today is
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
what could I think the craziness has always been there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's still unfortunately because we think we live in a civilized society. Then we think
Yeah,
like
right.
it's all good, right? The secular world proposed like, okay, all is well. We're gonna build like this utopia or something that's gonna make everybody rich. That's gonna make everybody happy. Make everybody reliant on who? The government or the powers that are.
Everybody's
Yeah.
gonna be taken care of.
Yeah, but
that's what we always seek for, right?
it's not happening. It's still.
Because we all have our own wants and
Yeah.
our own perspectives, and that's when and then once like people isn't the challenging part there is when I think most of when you get into power or like when you get into a position of power,
Mm,
it's where you get tempted to
yeah.
be greedy.
Absolute
Oh, sure,
power
sure.
corrupts. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that
It's an interesting point to about the Old Testament. It makes me wonder: are you because obviously you read the Bible with your kids, your kid, and do you go to those parts in the Bible and read those together and try to like
Yeah.
break it down? Like I haven't gotten to the. We're still in the New Testament, so we haven't gotten to the Old yet, and I'm listening to what you're saying and imagining how that would sound to our daughter
Mm,
at the age that she is, and that's probably going to sound pretty wild.
wild
Mm.
it is.
You know.
So you gotta
How do you
gotta
do that?
so that's when we practice our skill of like working around it, like you just generalize that this place is so evil,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
you just have to
You
work
make it.
around
It's over
it.
there, like
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah, and it's so evil that even God can't save it because it's so wicked. It's so
Yeah.
it destroyed his plan for life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
What
would,
he-
it would
what
be
he
nice though
wanted-
that we would still be like Nineveh, Jonah and Nineveh,
Yeah.
right? Like be saved or spared.
yeah.
Yeah, spared would be a better word.
But I think that's how what sin brings.
Yeah.
Like the sin is when sin came into the world, that's when our world that's when death came,
Mm.
and eventually sin is the absence of good. I mean, evil is the absence of good, right? So sin is the one that separates us from God. So if we say like we there's why if God loves us so much, why is there pain? Why are there
Mm.
people getting sick?
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
He
yeah.
loves us so much, why? That's the most common complaint of
Yes,
the people.
the problem of evil.
But what I realized, I also asked those questions.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
It's a good question.
Yeah, because yeah, if God is good, why is this happening?
Yeah.
It's because we live in a broken world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So if we try to understand what's the true meaning of like how like the number one enemy of this world, which is sin,
Mm.
it corrupted everything, corrupted human people, because we by default are selfish. It's true. Imagine
Oh yeah.
if like me up to now, there's this like I fight off this selfishness side in me, like
Mhm.
I get to be selfish at times, when especially because it's my default setting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you have to. And when I started reading the Bible, it started to like give me an mirror, and I see my older self, and this is, oh, that's why I'm like
Mm.
this. I have to change it. And upon understanding more, like getting deeper in the Bible, that's when I understood like that's why we keep going back on how sin is bad, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if sin is bad and Jesus came here as a sacrifice, as a sacrificial lamb to absorb all the sin so that we can be cleansed.
Mhm.
So that's the basically the Bible. That's the Bible. That's the gospel.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Like for God who loved the world, that He gave His only begotten Son.
Yeah.
So I knew that before, like, but I didn't really know the gravity on how
Mm.
heavy it was. But
Sure,
when I started to understand, like, if sin is the that's why when Jesus was like preaching the gospel, he talks about not traditions, not
Mm.
about the other wrongdoing, but he 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 advocates about the gravity of sin,
Mm.
because sin is the true enemy.
Mm.
Sin is the one that separates us from God.
Sure.
So when sin separates us from God, um, of course we feel lost. Have you ever felt like what's the most like lost part of your
Oh yeah.
eh,
Yeah. Yeah. So
Teenage years or something.
first year of college, man. This is I actually
Yeah, that's
explained the
always
story.
yeah, it's always the case. I think
Uh,
we discussed this also a few
Yeah, I tried
many
to
episodes ago.
use
Yeah.
this story as a framework for explaining to my daughter about sin.
yes.
And I was so far from God at that time that I was living a life of lawlessness, and that's how I frame it for to try to get the message across. At that time, in 1 year, I was arrested twice, and not for doing like crimes to other people, but I was doing crimes to myself. I was being self-abusive, and so that was a time where um, I was far from. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't any nothing, none of that stuff. I was kind of like really self-absorbed,
Mm.
and that was a big turning point in my life, because I had to go to, when you get charged for a crime of like one of the times it was a DUI. I was abusing drugs.
Heavy. Dude.
It's not just like you get a ticket and you pay it off. You have to go
Yeah.
to AA meetings. This was back in California, so you get busted for something like that, you have to go to AA meetings, and then on top of that, my parents sent me to rehab, so I was seeing a counselor, and so that's how I frame it. I explain different parts of that story and how I was living a life of lawlessness, and I tried to explain, this is why you can still be free to choose within the laws of God, because
Mm.
it's not there to control you, it's there to protect us.
Mm.
And where a lot of people don't want to, they just want to do whatever they want, because they're so self-absorbed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's all about them. It's very a selfish perspective. And now that we're fathers, and that thing has totally changed, even up to the point of being a father. I was probably like that, and when I see myself, even as I thought a more mature adult, yeah, it was more or less kind of the same.
Mm.
It was only, that's how I get it now, why some people say that, father being a father saved them, because maybe without it, their perspective never would have changed.
Yeah,
And so to go
that's-
back to that, what you're saying is, was I ever at that point where, it's like dark, even though like my life probably wasn't I wasn't living in some slum in Africa or
Mm,
something like that.
Yeah.
It could have been worse, right?
Could
but
have been worse.
but it's a point where I was definitely spiritually like in a dark place, and so I've been to the kind of like um, you have to spend time in a dark, dirty cell, and your fingernails turn black without even touching anything. Why are my fingernails black? I don't know what's going on.
Well,
Something is.
when did that start? When did you start realizing that? Were you in your teens, or when you became a father? When you started reading reading the Bible, or started to get back closer to God?
For me, it was okay when I was on my lowest point, because I never knew that I was prideful. I just realized now in hindsight that I was so proud. I have this like pride. Like I know, like coming from a very religious family. Like
Mm.
my mom, my mom, my dad. Like so when someone goes to me like a Christian or like a born again Christian goes to me and tells me about the gospel, I just brush it away.
Mm.
Like alam ko na yan eh. Hindi
Yeah.
mo na kailangan sabihin, nag-grocery ako eh. Like, yung mga
Yeah,
ganun-ganun. I never, like, now looking back at it, like, dude, that's,
That was a call.
that was the call. Like, yeah, I missed it.
There was a
Mm.
nudge, right?
There was a nudge. People tried, I remember I was real, I can never forget this. Back in 2013, I
Mm.
remember. Let's go back. Super classic.
Yeah.
My friend, one of my good friends, invited me for a Bible study. Actually, it was a trap. Like, let's have coffee. Let's go have coffee. And when we go to the like Coffee Bean back in Divisoria, it was Coffee Bean in Bose Coffee and Bose Coffee in Divisoria before. Like when we go there, dude, it was like an ambush Bible study. Like so we went out of
There's like
respect.
a whole group.
Yeah, us as a barkada back then. Like
barkada,
so we
okay.
went in, and that's when my friend was already like transitioning to being a Christian, and like
Okay.
and like she invited us, and it's like we were connected to different, and I, out of respect, I was just like, okay, I'm here, okay, I'm gonna listen.
Okay.
So there's this guy really, this guy played the role in who I am today. He doesn't know it, but that guy,
Yeah.
he doesn't know it. I never talked to him about this.
Okay.
But so that guy, he talked to me about, he planted the gospel in me, but I rejected it
Mm.
going to Height Night, because in my heart I already know, you don't need to teach me.
Okay.
I was
Mm.
like, I had that like
Yeah.
pride in me.
Mm. So
You
like,
don't have to
there's
teach me.
nothing more to learn,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like I already know who God is.
Mm.
You don't have
Yeah.
to teach me.
Okay.
You can't. You're like being so like
Mm.
protective, and that was like
Sure.
so going forward 2013, 14, 15, like then I had this like while I was in college. So while I was in like my second stint in college, which is nursing school. So I am already a dad.
Mm.
Talia was like 3 year
Wow.
three
Going to
three.
college.
Yeah.
Man.
I like going back, I never knew how I did it. Like
Yeah.
I studied nursing. Natalia was 4 years old. I had my ice cream business also, which was helping me, was paying for my nursing school,
Nice.
and I was balancing all of those all at the same time.
Yeah, that's
Then,
hectic, man.
like, and I coming from a lazy background, coming from a like a spoiled like unplanned birth. My daughter was unplanned, but
Okay.
so like it was like I was coming from that version of myself, like so
Okay.
it was so hard to balance everything. Then there's a situation I felt lost. Yeah, and I felt lost, and I can't understand why. Then suddenly what popped out in my head was the guy who shared me the gospel.
Okay.
And we haven't talked. We haven't talked from 2013 to 2018. That was 2018. I was in my first year in college.
Okay.
We didn't talk, and I just reached out,
Mm.
and I just and no his like no questions asked. He came to me.
Mm.
He came to me. He came to me. We had coffee. I was able to share to him my ano. Then he shared me again the gospel.
Okay.
So it started there. And when
Wow.
when it started there, I started to feel peace. Then I was like in a momentum of like but then again, I was, being in a Catholic background,
Mm.
I was like for half in, half out.
Yeah, that's
Because
usually the case.
I'm half in, half out. Because I don't want to disappoint my family. I don't want to
Uh-huh.
disappoint everyone else.
Yeah.
I want to be. I never knew that I was such a people pleaser. Like
Mm.
that's who I
Okay.
was. So
Interesting.
so
Yeah.
so so I stopped. I did, and I like stopped seeing that guy. I like because I said I was busy because school, and it was true. I got busy,
Yeah. Sounds
but
like you were busy.
I got busy. But I was listening to sermons on YouTube during my workouts. Oh,
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Interesting.
that's what changed.
Mm.
So that was like I was indirectly already listening to. It was really planting. Then but I was also still while doing that, I was still living in sin, like smoking. I was smoking a lot
Okay.
because like for me smoking weed was like it was a norm for me.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's not bad, like
Yeah. Yeah.
so I tried to justify that
Sure.
like the whole time till I graduated college.
Mm.
So when I graduated college, nursing, everything, I think I thought everything is like going my way. Everything else like then suddenly life humbles you again.
Mm.
And that humble and when life humbled me again, that was like one of the greatest thing and the most painful thing that ever happened in my life. The greatest thing because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here right now. Like I wouldn't be having this like intentional relationship with God, like spending time with Him
Okay.
and like being to teach my daughter uh these things that I'm like,
Okay.
so during that humbling time I never I I wanted it away. Like, I wanted to like numb myself from that because I was not really good. One of the things that I've learned is like I'm really not good in dealing with like facing issues.
Okay.
Like so
Okay.
like I brush it off, smoke weed, numb myself.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
so
Yeah.
so when I was humbled, this time it was different because the weed wasn't working anymore and I felt really lost and that's and what really put the nail to the coffin is when my daughter started to notice like why you smell that way like
Mm.
Oh yeah.
so
Really.
my god then it hit
Oh.
me like
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god I gotta stop
Suddenly
this.
your crutch becomes your bane or
Yeah,
something.
I gotta stop this. I don't want na parang I don't want to be a hypocrite around my
Yeah.
daughter.
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided to call up my friend. I call up my friend randomly. Out my friend from nursing school. So super random. Back in college we always like we were barkada and but we never talked about God.
Okay. Okay.
Then I just messaged him, Bible study tayo.
Mm.
Randomly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he said and he was also going through a season that he
Ah.
was in also in Bible.
Interesting.
Then that's when
Was
that's
he
when
into it too, or just?
yeah, he's also into it, and that's when we became a small group.
Okay.
Okay.
So you just
So-
decided like
Yeah.
a whim or something, or
Yeah.
like
Like, yeah,
okay,
we-
let's just get together
then our leader, the
Mm.
one brought us together. Then ever since then, I've been consistent for 2 years already. This may gonna be my second year in this D group. Then
Oh, this is the one that you like
Yeah,
post about.
Yeah,
with Coach ng
yeah,
Gubansya. Nice,
Gibansya.
nice.
So we eventually we started from just the three of us. Now we're like 5 or 6.
Okay.
And so I'm very grateful because that really, I never knew like having that community like that you can be vulnerable to, or or like going to different struggles, you help out each other,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
that's when I started to open up, and really being intentional in, because I'm so hypocritical before, like I said, Lord, I want to know you, but I don't read the gospel. I don't read the Bible, right?
Ah, okay,
Right?
okay,
So
okay.
like I just want excerpts or like clips.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You just want the like
Yeah.
the church
Yeah,
version
yeah,
or
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that.
I just want the like the value meal version, like the
Yeah.
fast food
Right,
version
right.
of the
Mm.
gospel, right?
So when
But
did you start like taking the Bible serious? I mean, reading it religiously or just absorbing it
when I can't
daily?
find my peace,
Okay.
yeah, when I can't find my peace,
So until now, you consistently
yeah, so
The bong
it's
rips weren't working
no,
anymore.
the bong rips.
the gospel of the bong.
The gospel of the bong. I really, like, I was really, I was already like, I was already. I was already being like, I was consistent in church,
Mm.
or like attending my small group. Then, um, then God humbled me again, and this time it's different. It's because I was humbled, even though that I'm following Him, and that's the most painful part,
Mm.
right? Because why? Because I'm already doing this, doing that. You
Yeah,
get to
still.
ask those kinds of
Yeah,
questions, right?
yeah.
So
Struggle again.
struggle again. But
Yeah.
little did I know that like the reason why He wanted me to experience that is for me to, how am I gonna respond this time?
Mm.
Usually I respond with go score some weed,
Yeah,
or
some
Mm.
bong rips.
yeah, go bong rips, go away, like stay away, numb
Sure.
myself,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
sleep,
that feeling
or
very well.
or
Yeah.
or this time experience it with me.
Mm.
Mm.
Like no,
Okay.
be sober. Know that even though that you're struggling, that I'm with you, and trusting me
Mm.
that I have plans for you. And that's the most hardest thing. Then
Mm.
it came back to me when I was disciplining my daughter. Like sometimes when we discipline our daughters, right? We don't want it, but
Yeah.
she needs it,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when I started to see that God gives us like situations in our lives, like struggle, we don't like it, but we need it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I
Sure.
started to understand, when I started to understand the true meaning of that, it's when I like humbled myself more,
Okay.
and
Okay.
like and when I started to surrender, it's very hard. Even now, every day,
Ongoing.
it's a decision.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like working out. It's like working
Yeah,
out. Like
yeah.
even if you don't want it, you have to.
Yeah. It's
It's
like
gonna
being
hurt
sober.
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes.
being sober. Yeah, even you get tempted, but you know what's the
Oh, yeah.
right thing to do, right? So,
Mm.
so when I started to surrender every day, not it wasn't an overnight thing. It was an everyday thing. I had to decide every day. It's when I started to feel peace. And
Mm.
the peace that I can't explain. I can't even explain it right now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like I'm still in troubled waters though. I still feel
Mm.
struggles and a lot of aspects. But
Mm-hmm.
the only different thing is I know that God is with me.
Mm.
And when God is with you, it's He's gonna take care of you.
Mm.
And you can't handle it on your own, because He's gonna handle it for you. You just have to trust Him.
Yeah, and I think that's a helpful message. Like we were talking to go back earlier about our discussions about like um, how do we raise our kids in this place where there's so much craziness going on. Like
Yeah,
how do
and it's
we
getting
how do we
crazier
explain
too.
that? Yeah, and so there are those stories where people are like you brought up the story about those people that were killed, but a
Yeah,
lot of
and
them
that's
are
just the
not.
tip of the iceberg too.
But the great thing not about that particular story, I'm not sure
Mm.
about this detail, but I know in stories like that there are very faithful Christians that will not denounce their faith,
Hmm.
even in I don't know if that was the case in that
Yeah, that was
story. It
the
was
that
it
was.
was yeah. So it's probably a difficult reality to explain, but I think that helps in what you're saying, that if you walk, if you feel like you're alone, you at least you still have God. Like
Yeah.
even if you don't feel like we're there for you as your parents, you can always rely on God to
Yeah.
be there with you. And
So
I
it's
think that's
something.
that at least gives some perspective about the craziness in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that really lovely story and testimony. It's inspiring.
It's
So and
it's
also
God's glory, man,
yeah,
for him.
and also one of also that I've been pondering about is that in relation to raising our kids in this world is also that when being confronted with that um, in their time, hope I can only hope that we have adequately equipped them with that faith or
Yeah.
that with that, you know, it's difficult too because I have to admit myself I don't have that kind of faith yet, where I can fully surrender myself. If I have to admit and be honest, I'm still in the process of we talked about this in our last episode. I was an atheist and agnostic for a very, very long time in my life. And it's only been like, what, less than 2 years, I think, where I started to just um, get back to the fundamentals, even with my faith, which is been handed down to me by my parents, but I just rejected it. That's also the problem I see, is that the way they translated it, perhaps, or transmuted it to us, was lacking. Maybe because they were too busy with whatever, with work. That's what I'm trying to correct, which I know I'm not perfect, and I still make mistakes, but I do try to at least equip my daughter with it every day to remind her, you know, this is gonna be it's gonna be difficult. I try to be real with her, like, you know, Jesus died on the cross, and sometimes people get killed. I mean, she's 4, but she understands.
She's 4 years old, man.
I talk to her like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
this is really the reality of it. A lot of people hated Jesus. You know, we love Jesus, but during his time, the people were spitting at him. People were cursing him, and that's just the reality of it. I don't want to sugarcoat anything. You know?
Sure. But at 4 years old, you can only expect
Yeah,
so much
I'm
understanding.
not trying to be
right?
graphic. Yeah, to describe it graphically, but she sees it
yeah.
all the time. She sees it like a crucifix.
Sure,
So she
sure.
knows like there's a guy who died here, and it happens to be the Son of God, and it's for me, it's just that by really translating it to him, like what it really means to be to be with Christ. It's a sacrifice, which is, I don't know, it's difficult
It's a
even for
lifelong
me.
endeavor, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really difficult, and because we want to save them, right? Save them in a way where we don't want them to get hurt.
I think technically that's what, I mean, technically speaking, that's what baptism is for.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you're on the right path. I
Mm.
think if that's the intention. So I think you can probably worry less about not saving them.
Because yeah, once you go with it, you be saved, but then it's kind of like more of the suffering of the physical body that scares the bejesus out of me.
You mean suffering for you or for your daughter?
for
Both.
even for myself. I mean, I've always said before, I wasn't afraid when I was an atheist. I wasn't afraid of death, because for me death would be just like a blank thing at that time in my mindset. Like, it's just gonna be, probably my consciousness would be uploaded somewhere in the universe, but that was about it. And then whatever happens, I didn't think about salvation. I didn't think about an afterlife. It would just be a blank or whatever. But that was the whole mindset. So for me, dying was not that important. It's the process of dying that scared me before. Like, I'm gonna get cancer. I've seen my mom and dad died with stage 4 cancer. It is not good. I mean, as traumatic as you can witness something. But in a way, even with that kind of trauma, it did bring us closer together. So there was something in that suffering that kind of have this process of bringing a family closer together. We've experienced that with our grandmother as well, right? When we were bedside, everybody was there
Yeah.
when she was dying, and that was a beautiful thing, even in death. So, and there's this assurance that if you just cultivate that love that we have been taught by generations of Christians that has been handed down to us, then there's something in there. That's what I've been trying to process, or I'm trying to. There is something here, and I want to pass it to my daughter. Hopefully, she doesn't stray away like me.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting question. Quite like in your upbringing, how do you reconcile, like, like you're saying, you had different perspectives and you went through those tribulations and trials during your college years, raising your
Mm,
daughter and being busy, and how does the spiritual life like help you
mm,
on a day-to-day kind of practical basis to deal with things that maybe we're not so aware of as fathers, like we subconscious things that we might like, oh man, I sound like my parents or something like
Yeah.
that, like,
Yeah.
am I doing the same thing? Like, there's one thing it's certainly curious for me is, how do you, like, just on a practical basis, how are you utilizing your spiritual life to kind of uh, bring you forward day by day in this material life?
It's just like for me, it's just like learning. Every day is a different. Yeah, every day is a different lesson. So
Yeah.
what I noticed from who I was during the half in half out days versus now being totally sober is that my approach is different. Like I noticed that I don't swear that much anymore,
mm,
Okay.
and
Okay.
I noticed that I really thought that I could not live without weed.
So yeah,
mm.
yeah,
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 like
yeah,
I
yeah.
was
Or
really a
Okay.
alcohol? Do you
stronghold.
drink much
I
before?
don't drink. I
Ah, okay,
smoke.
so you're more like a
Yeah,
weed
smoke.
guy than
I'm like
alcohol guy.
a I enjoy pot. I like pot films.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, yeah,
Those were like wow,
Yeah,
I'm really fan of
White
those.
yeah,
Castle,
yeah.
White Castle, all over
Friday.
Ching and
Friday,
Chong.
yeah.
Uh,
Then I realized, dude, that these people are wicked. I wouldn't want my daughter to watch it. Be like, watch these people, or like, dude, where's my car? Or
yeah, Dude, Where's Where is a
those like
classic
stoner
now.
films. Yeah, stoner.
Yeah,
Uh,
those were always our favorites
yeah,
before.
like
Like,
Fast
Yeah.
Times at Richmond
Yeah, when
Yeah,
you're
that was a
High.
good one.
stoned.
Yeah, and it was different when you're stoned, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I mean,
nothing
think about it.
compared.
There's like a whole genre of movies just for weed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, okay. There's like Cheech and Chong.
Yeah, Cheech
Yeah.
and Chong.
Method Man, Red Man.
Yeah, Method Man, Red Man.
There's like
Friday
the Get
after.
High,
For
like
sure.
a Snoop Dogg film,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the Get High, and there's this indie film like
Reefer Madness was the first one, I think. That, but it was anti-weed though.
there's
I
this.
think.
Did you watch? I think was it Smile or like
Smile.
Happy? It was like Anna Faris.
Mm.
Like she was a total pothead. Like he ate like one box of like
Edibles.
Edibles.
Brownies or
yeah,
something?
yeah, special cupcakes.
Whoa,
Then
whole
the whole
box.
movie like
Oh my
you
goodness.
like the whole movie was like around here getting stoned the whole day, and
Oh.
she wants to stop.
Oh, it's just
Like,
okay.
Yeah,
and
you just be
around-
watching with a
yeah.
bong in hand. I was like,
But yeah, but that was the before me,
yeah.
and although that part of me is still here, but I refuse
yeah.
to
Yeah.
like bring him back.
Yeah, yeah.
So going back to it's an everyday thing.
Mm.
I like my swearing. My
Mm.
swearing was gone, and that's what I noticed.
Mm.
And what I also noticed is also the patience.
Okay.
Like usually when like
Yeah.
the small stuff, even
Mm.
when your mom is there, like when your mom talks to you na like, eh, saan mo nilagay yung ganyan 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 ganyan.
Mm.
Ma, ansa? Like, typical
Oh.
spoiled, entitled response. Now I noticed, and I think my mom noticed it also. I think my family noticed. Like, when I respond, I respond more with. Now that I say that it's more graceful in a
Mm.
way.
Okay, okay.
Graceful in a sense, not like it's like more of like okay, like
Mm.
okay, okay, maybe we can,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah. Yeah.
Like that's what I noticed. Then
It's not like force.
Yeah,
like you don't fight force with force.
no, I
Mm.
can control it more.
Yeah, yeah.
Last time I
Yeah.
can't. It's like automatic. I think that was respectful already.
Okay.
That was the norm. I
Sure,
thought
sure.
I would never change that, but
Yeah.
when I started to see, I read it in Proverbs like how powerful the words from your tongue is,
Mm,
and
yeah, yeah.
what you say from your mouth is what overflows in your heart.
Mm.
So if I say a lot of bad words, dude, like my heart is so wicked. Like
Uh-huh.
and I don't want that, and I don't want my daughter also. The good thing
Yeah.
about being a dad is like they get to look at you, get to be the role model. Oh my god, I shouldn't swear this much,
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
because they will eventually follow. No, they
Yeah.
will truly follow you,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
how my dad works.
Yeah.
So I can't be I can't be slothful. I can't be
Uh-huh.
lazy.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have to, because eventually, well, our daughters will marry someday,
Sure.
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
I was one of my fears before was
Hopefully to Christians.
yeah, that was my fear before, like them getting my daughter getting married. But
Mm.
now as I think, if I raise my daughter right, if I raise her like in a godly way, like lead her to God,
Mm.
like uh I and I always tell her like and I know when this year was so different for me because my daughter already mentioning about crushes already.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
She's in
yeah,
that
yeah.
stage now.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so so I
Doesn't take
listen.
long, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Does
take
it?
long.
Yeah. Oh my God! It has arrived. All right.
It has
Okay.
arrived.
So I
Yeah.
was listening. So I was listening with a skeptical, like defensive. Oh, bawal yan.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, I
No
should
dating.
no dating. No. But I listened. Okay, what made you like him or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that?
yeah,
What
yeah.
made?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Remember. So what I reminded her is you have to find a person if you're gonna look for someone for one guy, find the person who loves God more than you,
Yeah.
because he will eventually lead you to God,
Mm.
and God will take care of you, and you have to know if he truly loves God, and you will know it by his actions and how
Yeah.
he speaks to you.
And some people find it hard to accept that premise to love God even more than your wife
Yeah,
or your
that's true.
daughter. It some people just really like that's kind of like I did. I mean, there was a sort of resistance in my part. That statement is very true. Even with Isaac, the story of
Yeah.
Isaac
And Abraham.
and Abraham sacrifice. You're telling me to sacrifice my child? Like really?
After I prayed for this
Yeah.
for 80
For-
years,
And then I'm just going to give it up to you, but because I didn't listen.
I bet
know?
that was in Abraham's mind, but he
Yeah.
never said
said
that.
a thing.
He obeyed.
That was, but it was a very to me now thinking about it, it's a very powerful. Even the imagery of it, like
Yes.
Yeah.
offering your child
That's
on the
intense,
altar.
man.
Yeah, but the altar is an altar of love. It's an altar of God that promises that, and it's a difficult thing to do because you're surrendering, right? This is
Yeah.
this is not just mine. This is yours, God. I offer it to you, and I've tried that with my daughter, like even just offering, like, Lord, if I can just raise her to honor, to praise you. But then sometimes in your mind, like, no, I know better.
Yes.
Right.
No, Lord. No, Lord. I know what's best, but
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard.
is, yeah.
It is hard. But well, just to add, surrendering, because
Mm.
what I learned is from all of this, from this all this humbling moment that I've experienced in my life, is that our daughter is not ours to begin with, and
Mm.
it's a gift from God that we have to take care. And eventually, if it's a gift from God, we offer it to her.
Mm.
We offer it
Mhm.
to Him,
Mhm.
and we make sure if we offer something to Him, we took care. We did our best in taking care of what He has given us.
Mm.
So that's how I see it. And I've been through like relationships up and down, and I saw it in a different light. And I before I always wanted, no, I want this, I want you to give her to me, or something like that. There's
Right,
like,
right.
I want you to give it to her. But when what I realized upon reflecting to God's word, it wasn't overnight. It took me like a year to realize this, that what God has given me in my relationship is not something that I deserve.
Mm.
So God, it wasn't mine to get.
Mhm.
It was for Him to give to me.
Mm. Okay.
So if ever I ask for that thing again in the future, it's something that I won't claim or I won't like get out of force. It's something He gives
Mm.
at the right time. So that's,
Mhm.
and I try to apply that and see it to my daughters in point of view also. So it's like the story of Isaac. That was really,
Yeah.
you know, there's this connection of Isaac and
Yeah,
Jesus,
the
right?
lamb, was it the lamb or
The same mountain
yeah,
where
where Jesus
where the
was the but after he tried to sacrifice, there was a lamb there, right?
yeah,
In
it's a
this
ram.
oh, it's a ram.
Ram,
Yeah, there
yeah.
you go. There was a
Sacrificial
ram there,
lamb.
the sacrificial
The
one.
the the word that
Mm.
what I loved about Abraham is his faith. That's why he
Mm.
was the father
And
of
this was in
faith.
the Old Testament,
Because
so
he never questioned God, but I bet like deep inside, like,
Mm.
Lord, I waited 80 years
Yeah.
yeah,
and I raised this boy, my only boy. Then
Yeah.
you want me to sacrifice it to
just
you?
like Joseph. There's a really it's one thing that a lot I've noticed that we struggle with is also with obedience to God. It's really one of the things that I personally have a hard
I'm
time.
guilty of that.
Yeah,
Like I'm
uh,
so disobedient,
A
man.
hard time, like even processing it daily on a daily basis.
On a daily
Yeah.
basis. Obedience, like it's that's why I truly believe in the saying like obedience leads to blessings.
Mm.
I really believe to that. Like, it's very hard to obey. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
even the rules here you can
Oh,
even
yeah.
follow like simple traffic rules here. Like,
Yeah.
no overtaking, we overtake, right?
Yeah.
Huwag mo
Right,
katanaw.
And there's a
Hinay man.
misconception too. Like, doesn't mean like when we obey God, we disobey the laws of the land. You know,
No.
God is the laws of God are there. And I remember when Jesus was confronted by the Pharisees. I think when they tried to trap him with this
Yeah.
question of what was that about when
What is the greatest commandment?
yeah,
Or,
something like when render unto Caesar
no, like what
what
is
belongs to Caesar, and
Yeah.
then render unto God what belongs to God,
That's
right?
true.
So Jesus was kind of crafty there. He was really
Yeah, like, and he was like even when the part where Jesus was like there was like a woman committing adultery on a Sunday.
Mm.
Then like according to like Jewish law, if someone does that on a Sunday or like on Sabbath day,
It's a
stoned
no-no.
to death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when the woman ran near to Jesus and the people were like trying to stone the woman, Jesus was just writing on the. He was already like planning on how he's gonna execute his like. Okay, let me gather my thoughts. Wait, like Rabbi, this woman has fornicated, like something like that. This committed sin, something around that context. And Jesus was just writing. Okay, who who is
Free of
someone
sin.
free
Without
of
sin or
sin?
something, yeah.
Cast the first stone.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And dude, like, so everyone, what? Boom.
Stir the
Okay,
waves.
no one throw
Mic
the
drop.
stone. Mic drop. So, and what also enticed me about following Jesus is also like I noticed like Jesus has this like bursts of prayer,
Mm.
like meaning like he goes to his quiet time. Like okay,
okay.
give me like he
Retreats to the
Retreats
mountains
away
sometimes,
by
yeah.
himself.
Praise.
isolates himself not because like gusto niya mag-relax or something,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he intentionally talks to the Father.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
And seeing that that's how I sometimes kasi if we want to follow God or we want to pray to God, it's depending on our convenience, right? If we need it, if we don't need
Do
it,
it on
no.
Sunday.
Or feeling down.
Feeling
or-
down. But the intentional, that's why Jesus emulated the relationship on how we have to have a relationship with God is through prayer. And that's what also changed in my life.
And fasting. Speaking of fasting, it's
Yeah.
Lent now.
It's-
40 days of fasting, man. If you can do it, it's gonna be a hard
Did
one.
that start already?
Yeah,
Wednesday.
Ash
right?
Wednesday.
That's right.
Did you start already?
It's difficult. I tried to be honest.
Like for like dry fast, what are you gonna do?
the at least in the old ways, it was really difficult. Like I've heard some people passing out during mass because that's why they tried to adjust it in modern times, where you can well, at least eat some bread, half a meal for the Roman rite. I think in your 2 meals you can have that one, and then
Share,
just eat it. But
portion
then
it within the
you
day.
yeah, but then you offer that
Grease the group.
as a sacrifice to apparently to at least for other people's for the conversion of sinners, let's say. So it's not just an act for yourself, it's an act for other people as well. Let's say if I fast, like I offer this sacrifice for the conversion of sinners, I offer this sacrifice as penance, whatever. So it's 40 days too. It's longer than Ramadan. And it was there before Ramadan. I think it was 200, 380 when they started doing that, if I'm not mistaken. So Christians have been doing that for a long time. The whole fasting thing. I don't know, in the modern times, I think it should come back.
Just for clarity, what exactly is the traditional fasting? It's like you don't eat anything.
No meat on Fridays
Oh, no
and
meat.
Wednesdays,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
I thought it
Yeah,
was, like, more
so
extreme than that.
and yeah, there are more extreme than that. Like
that's
just
the-
water, man.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
even
water
no,
fast.
even no water, like a pure dry fast.
Yeah.
Oh man, for
So-
40 days.
No, Jesus.
Some people do, and Jesus
that.
did.
Jesus did the ultimate dry fast.
Some monks do that.
in
And
a
then-
desert.
Yeah,
He did that because he needed to prepare himself
yeah.
For the
for the
That's why-
ministry.
That's why
Yeah.
they call it like, okay, you have to go to the desert of Lent or something, like
Mm.
immerse yourself in that with that
Wow.
Basically,
that
it's
thing.
it's training. It's training
Yeah.
because like
spiritual
You're like removing all sorts of
Mm.
comfort, like
Mm.
your spirit
detaching from
yeah.
sin, fasting from sin. Like
Yeah.
if you swear a lot, then I'm gonna stop swearing. Try to,
and it's and your body by default resists that, like
Yeah.
in
Oh,
fasting,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
It's interesting too that it's 40 days because it takes roughly a month to develop a habit. So it's probably not a coincidence that it's 40 days.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
like para sure lang you're gonna develop a different habit out
Yeah.
of it. So it's interesting.
Even with lust, I mean, we talked about it a few episodes ago. I tried just even blocking it out for a few weeks or so. It's probably one of the most difficult things
Yeah.
I've ever
That's,
tried,
You're
man.
fighting your own
Like,
biology.
I don't
want to
look at people with this kind of eyes, you know.
Yeah, sinful
So,
eyes.
Yeah. So all right. I'm gonna try. I fall most of the time, but I'm gonna try. So you just keep trying. The point
Yeah.
there is to keep trying.
Yeah, the point there. What I realized. I also struggle. We men. We're men, right? Like
Yeah.
we struggle to those kinds of things. What I realized is, before if I started to fall, right, we feel like so ashamed,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Shame.
guilt trip.
guilt, and like Lord, I don't deserve you, because
Yeah.
that's the number one. And I just realized it like recently, like a year or 2 years ago, that's one of the main tactics of the
Yeah.
devil, dude.
That's
The tactic
that's
of the devil is
deception.
for you to be away from him.
Right.
So he's gonna make you feel guilty.
Yep.
But that's when you remember that Jesus died for me
Mm.
and he loves me. And like if you go back to the 3 o'clock prayer, like
Mm.
is oceans of mercy
Yeah.
open up for the whole world,
Mm.
envelope the whole world, and empty yourself out upon us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how graceful he is. Imagine oceans of mercy. Look how big is the ocean? dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how
Deeper
much he
than we
loves
know.
us. Yeah, that's how much he loves us, and that's what we need to remember, that we have choices. We fall down, but the best response is what do we do when we fall down?
Mm.
Do we stay there,
Mm.
Yeah.
or do we like, Lord? Do you cling and persevere in Him?
Mm.
And like, Lord, I know I sinned, but I'm not letting go. I can't do
Mm.
this on my own. I trust you.
Yeah.
I trust you. You died for me. And I know that my ways are never going to be perfect in this world,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I have you.
Mhm. Mhm.
You just have to be humble enough to
Yeah.
accept.
Yeah, speaking of humble, he was pretty specific too on like when you fast, do not show other people like you're
Yes.
fasting or
Like you don't post it on social
yeah,
media.
you don't
Second
post it.
day
Yeah, he was
fast.
very specific with that one. Like do
Yeah.
not be humble
Sure,
or do
sure.
it out of your own volition.
Like
and
don't let like.
yeah, I forgot the whole verse or the whole passage, but it's something like that. Like when you're fasting, like don't do
be
it.
like
Don't be like the hypocrites. Yeah.
Don't be like the hypocrites where they show like they're
Yeah,
fasting,
pastor or
praying.
something.
So like that
Just
they're
keep it to yourself.
this,
Yeah, keep it to yourself, and then
that's true in
Sure,
social
sure,
media.
sure.
Like
Mm.
that's what we see.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
people pretending to give
vanity. Yeah, it's really
vanity,
something else, man. That
Like
whole
people
thing.
pretending to be good just to get some likes.
Yeah.
Maybe some are really doing it for
Yeah, that's
really
something
for-
I'm,
but
I'm worried about too, because my daughter's been telling me, why? How come she's been telling because her cousin is like doing TikTok, right? So she's older than her, so
okay.
she's like, how come she's doing TikTok? I told you already. If her mom lets her, then that's their
their rule.
yeah, that's your rule. For you, no, not even that, not even this. I make it clear to her, you're not supposed to be dancing in front of 1,000 or millions of people. That's inappropriate for me. That's my standard. That's I'll do it. Even if you call me old fashioned or I'm not a misogynist. I respect women. That's why I insist that she wouldn't do it, or she wouldn't be there. I mean, she's still 4. Technically, even if you're like 17 or
wild,
16,
4 years
you
old,
shouldn't
she's
be
like,
there,
I wanna
right?
Be on TikTok. Like, dude, that's crazy. 4 years old.
They're even younger ones I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is value in modesty. That's my
sure.
thing. And it's something like the way I understand it, because before when especially during our grandparents' time, when they go to mass, they would even veil themselves,
Yeah,
right?
you can cover.
Yeah, cover, and there's a reason for that, because even when you see at the altar, everything is veiled. That's the whole point. It's like you reserve yourself for God and for Jesus only. So when I see it all the time. I mean, I'm not telling anybody how to dress when we go to Zapat, but
in old times,
Yeah.
in traditional times,
we shouldn't like attract attention to ourselves when we give praise. It's always about
him.
him. Yeah, that's the whole point of it. So that's why there is a value in modesty. It's just my opinion, and please don't crucify me for that if ever. I'm not trying to tell women how to dress, or that's on you, whatever you want. That's just the way it was, and I think it's would be more prudent for us as a society, especially for I'm going to teach my daughter that, when she grows up, like dress for God, like how you would, if you would see the most powerful being on how would you like present yourself? I would,
present yourself with purity.
Yeah, with
which is the
purity.
hardest thing to do. and
No doubt about that.
and if we want our daughter to do that, we have to do that. We have to model
Yeah,
that. To
we
them.
have to
And
be-
that's one of the motivations for me to to fight off this battle against like lustfulness or like those kinds of things. It's because first of all we got like daughters, right? And
yeah,
and in their eyes, indirectly in their subconscious, they're gonna be looking for people like their dad.
yeah.
We're the first
Right.
model. Of
We're the first model of what you're gonna be, what they want
It's a big
in a person.
responsibility.
So that's why fatherhood is so important. And I never, whoa, dude, like fatherhood is really a big responsibility. Not
Yeah.
to scare everyone or like it's
For-
something
for would-be
it changes
fathers out
you.
there, yeah.
It changes you for the good if you embrace it.
That's what I tell people. It's the biggest responsibility I've ever had.
And the
Period.
best.
Like,
And the best.
And the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come to think of it, right? If we listened to ourselves 3 years ago in our episodes, we had a totally different,
Totally different.
Dynamic.
conversations or even openness level of. We are more open now, of course, but there was a level of like acceptance there that we would probably now be now.
Yeah. Sure.
So it's an evolution thing, like spiritually. We are I like this path. I mean, Jesus for me is like the ultimate, the only way, even.
It's true. It's
Yeah,
the only way.
there's no other way. I've tried to process that. Maybe some of my atheist friends would disagree with it, and that's fine. But for me personally, I've tried navigating all the how we can, as a species at least, achieve that peace that we seek. It's impossible. I think that's just me though. I mean, good for you if you follow another way and you can find that. Then but this is the conclusion that I've come up with for.
it's kind of, let's say, it's a personal journey.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
personal
personal journey. We all have our own. Not my journey would be different from your journey,
Mm,
because that's how God works.
yeah.
Like we have our own purpose in Him. We don't have the same purpose. So if the moment we start comparing,
Yeah.
the moment we, oh, why is he getting this, why is he getting that, that's
Yeah.
when we
Oh,
lose focus
Yeah.
Mm,
on what's God's plan in our life.
Mhm.
So what I learned
Sure.
also from the book of
Yeah.
Corinthians is like, whatever season in your life you are in, maybe a season of waiting, season of like harvest, season of, or whatever season, like if there's a purpose why you're there.
Mhm.
And it's not for you to escape it or find a way to get away from it. It's for you to find what's the meaning, what can I learn from this season.
Yeah.
Like example,
Mm.
applicable in workouts. That's like, okay,
Yeah.
everything is applicable in workouts,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Why am I letting, why am I doing this chin-ups, like why am I like doing negatives? It's
Yeah.
because you want to be better in
Get
chin-ups,
stronger.
right?
Mm.
Get stronger. So everything is a process. Everything is a process.
Yeah.
That's it's almost an hour and a half, man. Did you want to? That's a good note to close it out on.
Okay.
If you want to
Yeah.
close it out, we can keep going if you want. But I mean,
Yeah, we're good. We're good. If
oh,
you,
we're
if
good?
you-
Okay.
yeah.
You want to take a break and get some water?
Water
use
or
the CR.
tea.
Sige. Let me
Yeah,
just
okay.
get.
All
Let
right.
me grab
So
more
we'll be
pauses.
right back, people. It's been interesting so far. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Lalo-
Just let me know when we're recording.
Actually, I'm not even sure if I paused it.
Oh,
Did
it's
right.
going on.
There's
Oh, I just got that part out.
Wait. Okay. I might not have paused it. It says it's still going.
Okay.
All right, it's fine.
Okay, we're back. Just had to take a
That
break.
was, a bit of a break. Now we're back.
Yeah. So where were we?
We were
Oh, we were just talking about how like workout is kind of like a framework
Mm,
for life and spirituality,
Mm.
and I've always thought about that like in jujitsu, like I'm not the first to say it obviously, but it's like the mats are a
Sacred.
way. Yeah, it's like a way to practice life.
Mm.
It's like you constantly get humbled, right? Like you get choked out, and it's like you have to accept that you're gonna always have to struggle
mm,
to get to the next level, right? To get to the next point of skills, to gain
Mm.
more skills, to have a higher level of learning, and that's the wonderful thing about.
mm. So it's not really about the
training.
belts. Like
I mean, for some, it probably is.
Mm.
There are lots of people
ways to
who,
approach it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
there's
yeah.
like
Just I'm sure, just like in spirituality, right?
Yeah.
Like in
Mm.
religion, people
yeah,
want to be on that stage speaking to hundreds
Mm.
and
yeah,
thousands
yeah,
of
they
people.
want to be the pastors,
Mm.
all right?
Right.
Like they want to be the sheep in wolves clothing, or wolves in sheep's clothing. Yeah, yeah.
Like- Sorry.
Name drop. Okay. Anyway, going back, yeah, it's like you were mentioning, like we humble ourselves to the mat, right? And just like and it's okay to be humbled,
Oh yeah,
because
Yeah.
sometimes
you have to accept it.
and sometimes the thing is, it's hard to accept.
it is.
It is being humble.
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, it's so
Absolutely.
hard
Humility.
to accept because
You know?
it destroys your manhood, or
Yeah.
in a point like
Uh-huh.
it's
Absolutely.
shameful.
Yeah.
You will literally get injured, and like like let's say you go 100% and you're sparring and you're trying to kill your sparring
Yeah.
partner, and the guy is gonna do something to hurt you as well because you're trying to hurt him,
Yeah.
and we're not supposed to be going to the point of like actually breaking each other apart.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get to the point where we can submit each other, and then we just practice, right? It's supposed to be a practice, but there are lots of people who go
All out.
all out, balls to
Mm.
the wall, and then they want to turn every sparring match into a real fight, and that's a good way to, it's only gonna last so long. It's either you get kicked out or you're gonna have so many injuries that you can't train anymore, right? And
But you
that's
still
life.
keep going, keep
That's real
learning,
life.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
New moves or how to counter this and counter that. Yeah.
it's a long journey, man.
Yeah.
To get
That's a great analogy. Yeah. Yeah. Because with spiritual warfare, yeah, you it's got to be practiced as well. I
Yeah,
think
it's
it's
practice.
one thing that's I think a lot of people overlook that part. Not many.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
I wanna-
Spiritual warfare.
Yeah, that is
it's
some-
happening right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's happening right now. This very, we may think we may be clouded by this like sudden flash of like, why am I thinking about this? Like, I wasn't thinking about this a while ago, or like we were. So one of the attacks of the one thing I noticed about spiritual warfare is like, you know that there's a warfare when there are contradicting ideas in your head, like
or doubt suddenly creeping in,
doubt,
right?
yeah. And like from nowhere, like from nowhere, like you suddenly feel okay, then from nowhere, like
you might feel some anger or
no,
something.
no. Something wants you to go back to your sinful ways.
Yeah.
Or to detach you from God. I mean,
there's
It
an
could be a
attack.
craving.
Yeah.
Or,
It's like
maybe?
it's like an attack. It's like a
Ah,
craving.
ah.
Like example, like let's example if you're, let's say you're free from porn. Like corn.
Oh, yeah.
Corn, yeah, you're free
Corn.
from corn. You're free from corn.
Nice.
Yeah, you've been like you've been like in your like you finished your 90-day streak,
Yeah. Yeah.
and suddenly like a pornographic material plays to your
Pops
computer.
up, yeah.
Suddenly.
Suddenly.
all of a sudden, yeah.
Suddenly an HD.
Yeah.
HD.
Yeah.
Then like then you can't turn it off.
Yeah.
Then like it's so the thing about spiritual warfare is we have always a choice. God says like God doesn't tempt us. He always gives us a way out. It's our choice if we choose that way out.
Yeah.
But
the beauty
most
of
of the
free
time,
will.
yeah,
Red
like
pill or the blue pill?
yeah. The thing is, what I noticed, I'm guilty of this. I want to shed it to the light so it won't have power over me. So, God always example if I get tempted. Nowadays it's so accessible anywhere. This device, your phone, right? And sometimes there's a way out. If you try to search or you stumble upon things that you're not supposed to be looking at, and suddenly like the Wi-Fi doesn't work, it doesn't boot up, you get frustrated, right? So you turn off the Wi-Fi and turn on the data. But the first sign was already God telling you not okay, there's a way out. This is the way out. But you found a way in again because you turned it off and turned on the data for you to connect. So it's all about choices. It's and God doesn't give us any form of temptation that we can't handle. And at the end of the day, we try to because we're only human, because I'm only human, we always use that excuse, but there's always a choice.
Yeah, I had when I quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago. I still remember it very distinctly. It was like a year later. It was all out of nowhere. All of a sudden, I just like, man, it'd be really nice to have a cigarette right now. I was just doing. I don't even remember what I was doing. It's just some random day, some random time. But it was like a year later, and I was like, "Where did that come from?"
It's kind of like a switch.
That's
Yeah. I was like, "No, I definitely don't want to go back to that."
Yeah.
That's an attack. That's what you call an attack. Me and my friend, shout out to my friend. Like I'm very grateful for our friendship because like any form of attack, dude, like we share it to each other. Like they messaged me like attack kayo ba kay si ay kay homophobic ko homophobic siya din. Then there's like this like person who I think na goes to our group also struggling with it. And it's sometimes it's if that's our weakness, it's not a form of attack. The attack is how you respond to him. Will you or will you accept him as God accepted him?
Okay.
So that's how you navigate through it. And there's so many forms of attack.
Oh yeah, especially with being a father.
Yeah.
Since the first target will always be the family and the father, because the father is the
Head.
head. So the enemy, of course, it's smart. Something that I've learned from listening to a lot of exorcists is that do not underestimate the enemy. Who was it said? I think it's Father Ripperger, Chad Ripperger or something. He's one of the famous exorcists. Because even him as an exorcist would say that I respect the enemy, but I know that Jesus is with me, so I'm not afraid of it, but I respect it
Sure.
because it knows the deepest recesses of your
Yes.
your soul
'Cause-
or something. Yeah, they have even not dominion of you, of course not. Jesus has that the only power over that, but it can tempt you in ways that you'd be surprised.
Because he
And-
watches you all the time.
Yeah.
He studies you, dude. He just waits for you to fall. He just
Mm.
waits for you to the perfect moment, and he attacks.
Mm.
So you saying that you out of nowhere,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
you wanted to smoke. He's like, okay,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe this is the time.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe
Maybe it could have been.
Yeah,
Could have
and
been.
then
Thankfully, it
even
wasn't.
from anecdotal evidence, or not even anecdotal evidence, there is evidence that the marriages are falling all
It's
over the
true.
world.
It's true.
Divorce rate is just through the roof, and then
Devil
couple, yeah,
mocks.
it's just it's always the father that they really focus their attention, because once if we become susceptible to it, then of course our family would fall with along with us if we allow it to happen. And that's always one of the challenges that I've been battling, and it's hard. I lose most of the time personally.
on the thing you were saying earlier about how we can make choices, and then thinking of like we're raising kids at these younger ages that they want to do social media or whatever it is they want to do, and they're so exposed these days to temptations.
Mm,
That's a real struggle, right? Like how are you going to deal with that when there are people around them that are doing social media, and we know what that's going to lead to, right? They're going to start looking at the likes eventually, even if it's just for fun now, that your daughter's 4 and she wants to dance and it just seems like something fun. How do we she can't make the right choice, right? She's 4 years old. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do for
Yeah.
them. And that's a struggle for us too, because there are people around us who are maybe have different values or have different perspectives of what these things can lead to. So that's something that's difficult for me, because I hear those things like our daughter's age, kids have their own phones.
mm,
My our daughter's friends are like begging their parents for phones, and of what else do they want to do with it? They want to scroll,
Yeah.
because that's the dopamine hit.
hmm
They're looking for it. They want it every day. They want it every night. They want it all day, just like candy, right? It's just
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. So that's a real struggle, and we know that that is an avenue for attack, right?
Mm.
Because like we're saying, porn, like the new feature on Instagram, whatever your friends have liked
So
now
you can
pops
see it.
up on your
Oh,
feed.
okay.
Yeah, I know.
That's a
Yeah.
new feature, and now that's why I'm still like, why am I seeing all these, like, before it was all like workout stuff and gym
Mhm.
fails and memes and stuff, gym memes, and now I'm starting to see like boobies shaking and like
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Why am I now seeing this stuff like this?
It's
I
tempting you,
purposely
man.
didn't like all these kinds of things before.
Attack. Yeah, that's called an attack.
Yeah.
You're under
But, I mean,
attack,
that's the
man.
reality of social media, right? Like
Yeah.
there are so many bad things about it, and yet it's such a big part of reality.
Mm,
Like I don't know, like it's a difficult thing to deal with, and especially when at such a young age. I remember I tell this story, during the pandemic when I got to see the our daughter's classes go online.
mm,
And it was like before class, I think, and one of the classmates was, they were just chit chatting with our daughter, and she was like, do you know this dance? And she did like this sexy dance thing, and I'm
Mm.
like, I almost threw up, dude. I'm like, I like that is a dance no second grader should ever do. Like, but that's the reality. You know what I mean? Like kids have full
Yeah.
access, and I can't do anything about that except provide values to my kid.
mm.
And she was like, do you know this dance? And she did her thing, and then thankfully our daughter said, no, I don't know that dance. So I was like, woo. And then so it's that in their face. So
Yeah.
I don't know
And the dance,
how you're planning to do it,
Yeah.
or like what are you doing? Like,
and the dance is a very powerful movement, kind of movement too. I mean, if I recall in the Old Testament, was it Salome who danced for King? Was it King Herod who had John the Baptist
yeah.
beheaded?
This is
Am
the
I-
New Testament.
I know it's the New Testament. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. I correct. I stand corrected.
His Herod
Yeah, it was
married.
Herod
I was in the
Married,
chosen.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, that was.
and the daughter.
Can you see how much they prepared for the dance?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was like so.
And she wanted-
That was so wild.
She wanted to. I mean, her mother. I think her mother was the one who wanted the head
That
of
was
John the
intense.
Baptist.
Yeah,
but
that was
she
a setup, right?
It was a
seduced
setup.
Yeah, but still,
in a way.
That's
But the
intense.
dance, yeah, it's always been there.
So going back to your question, I guess how we can limit it is like for me, what I do, maybe it somehow worked is like I make a lot of restrictions.
Okay.
Mm.
Like I make it hard to like not. So I make a lot of like she can't access her like let's say dopamine hit apps
Mm.
without a
Mm.
request from me.
I see.
So
That's a feature.
yeah, that's a
Mhm.
feature on the
Interesting.
iPhone.
Okay.
So they need to request.
You literally can't open the app.
Yeah,
I
they
see.
can.
That's
They
good.
need to ask
Yeah.
for a request from you.
Okay.
I did
And
your
you-
weekend thing though.
And you could
Yeah.
just or you could limit
yeah.
you could limit the app for just like a you
like
could
restrictions.
one
schedule.
hour.
Okay.
1 hour.
Yeah.
So it shuts down.
It
Like,
shut down
uh,
after.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's good.
Okay.
So that's how I do it for Natalia. And
Just-
it's not perfect because she keeps on asking for requests. And sometimes
Extend it a little bit.
Of course,
and
of course,
sometimes
they're
I
gonna-
get busy and
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
always
okay,
do that. Just
15 minutes.
Yeah,
yeah.
So, but it's better than total freedom, right?
Mm.
At that
Yeah.
age. And I also restrict, and the good thing is she follows. And
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
grateful that she follows right now. And and when I say YouTube Kids, you just use YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
I don't give limits to YouTube Kids.
Okay.
But
okay.
in YouTube, you're only allowed at this
Mm.
certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Like so that's how I try to navigate
Yeah,
on how
yeah.
to
Yeah.
control the dopamine hit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's not perfect though.
Yeah. I mean,
No, as long as
Yeah.
it's there, it's never gonna
Yeah.
be perfect.
Yeah, it's
like I just recently tried practicing your weekend rule. Like, okay,
Okay.
I can give you the iPad for Saturday and Sunday for a few number of but during the weekdays it's like no, nothing. It's just writing,
Yeah.
reading, and playing with your toys, just like in the old days.
Yeah. Sure.
It's difficult, but
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
sometimes when we're preoccupied, yeah, we just give it.
Oh
Yeah.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
especially
That's
if you're
the-
meetings.
It's
or
very
something.
real struggle there.
Especially when you're outside the house. Example, you're outside, you're in a mall or you're in a then you're sitting down and they tend to be impatient. It's so boring.
Oh,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you guys are example, you're meeting with your friend and you're trying to have a conversation and like
Yeah.
it disturbs you. Hey, it's so boring. What are we gonna do?
Yeah.
So you then I realized oh, nga, no, wala siyang gagawin. so I have no choice. Okay, you can watch right now. Just only when we're done, I'll get it back.
Mm.
Or so.
Mm.
So
Yeah, the thing that you mentioned about 15 more minutes, just to think about it more deeply, I really use the like there was a point early on in parenting, I think, when maybe around the time that our daughter started to speak, where I realized how impatient I was,
Mm.
and as parents we get a little bit controlling. We can get into that habit, and we want them to do things when we say to do them,
yeah.
right? And so there was a point where I found myself like, why am I getting so upset? Because what I realized is that she wanted to finish something that she was doing. She was like drawing or something. I was like, you need to do something. I forget what it was. Maybe it was like brush your teeth. It was like time to go to bed or something. And then it like clicked in my head. Maybe that was like a nudge. Like, dude, like calm down. She just wants to finish her thing, and then just give her 5 more minutes. I was like, okay, 5 more minutes. And then I realized that's a really good tactic to like keep, because not everyone in the house does that, right? So it's like I religiously do that now. It's just like, okay, 5 more minutes, okay, and then it keeps the the tension really low,
Mhm.
and it's a really great tactic. I really appreciate it now, and I've been doing that for years now. Okay, you can get, it's not every time that she wants to get something done, but there are times where like, no, you need to do that right now because your mother's gonna get mad or something like that, right? Or we have to do something, and we need to go, and so you need to get it done. So it's not like I always give her 5 minutes, 5 more minutes, but there are. I find that to be a really good way to keep the tension down. So I really like that. Okay, you want to do 5 more minutes? Okay, five, fine, 10 more minutes, whatever it is. So I really like that tactic. So I definitely use that one, and I'll have to try that navigating the app restrictions.
Yeah, there is.
I haven't
There's a
explored that yet.
there's a screen control for
Screen
parents
control.
here.
For YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we
I-
haven't gotten to the point.
I'm
where-
just too lazy to sometimes like
Just
do
easy.
that.
Yeah.
And it's so
That's-
easy, right?
It's so easy to like how many clicks, and I
And most
realized
parents
that,
are just
Oh,
too
really?
lazy.
It's
Yeah.
that granular.
Yeah, it's
Okay, I'll do
How
that
many
next
clicks?
time. And you can even restrict some
apps.
some not just some apps even or some content. Can you
Yes,
like
yeah, you can.
like if I don't want Coco Melon to pop up to her
You
feed,
can block it.
can
Yeah,
I
you
can I
block-
like
you can block
okay.
YouTube
and,
Kids.
and websites you specifically
yeah
want to block.
okay.
But the thing is that now Natalia they have this like coding class, and
Oh.
so they
Ooh.
need to use the phone.
full access.
So I
Mm.
had to be lenient on that. But there are
Interesting.
and what I noticed is in the screen the parenting control like in the iPhone is you can choose apps that you allow with no limits. So I could block all the like let's say the YouTube, but you can only use these offline games or this app for your coding
Mm.
class.
Oh,
You can
okay.
use with no restrictions.
Interesting.
So yun, that's how I. That's
There's
how
a will, there's a way.
Oh.
You have to try at least, right?
Yeah.
And what I noticed when I started giving that when I started giving that kind of treatment to Talia is like she budgets her time.
Okay.
So now
Budgets her time.
so she knows that she has only 5 minutes.
So with their screen
So,
time,
yes, so she's gonna look at what time is it? Okay. So it's gonna maximize everything.
Yeah,
Then he knows when it reaches like 6:35.
Okay.
Phones down. do your thing right now.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it's
That's good. It gives them some kind of way to manage themselves.
Yeah, but sometimes I'm afraid that they get too OC. that's my fear. 'Cause even when we go to school, like, Dad, it's 6:45. Come on.
She's
Oh,
getting on you now.
Yeah. Oh my God. I go, relax lang. Relax lang.
Yeah.
So getting my coffee. So that's the thing. I don't want to be late. Like those kinds of things. And the thing is, when I try to teach her like kids are smart now, and as they grow older, you realize too they're getting smarter. Like,
Yeah.
And they have this new response, like right now, like. I'm not like you. Don't compare me to your childhood.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
compare me to your childhood because it's different.
Wow,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, he's gonna say that.
That's hilarious.
So okay. So that's a test of like a test of patience. Okay. So we go,
what is-
excuse me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know we have different childhoods, but
Uh-huh.
who do you follow?
Yeah.
Who did God allow to be authority here? Me
You're
or
not
you?
in charge
We're-
here.
Yeah, we're not equal.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
We're not equal.
Mm.
We're not. Okay. So sometimes I need to humble her also.
Yeah.
and it's fun. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
fun not like in a bully way. It's
Yeah.
fun because you get to see, wow, dude, this from this baby
Yeah.
like
Mm.
cries, cooing.
Now it's
Now it talks back.
Yeah,
to
it talks
you.
back.
It's amazing,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
So
it is.
amazing.
It
there are
is.
even reasons and argues with
Reasons
you.
and
Yeah.
arguments, and it's just, and I thank God. And
Yeah.
the one thing also changes. I thank God every day. Like, Lord, thank you for the opportunity of like allowing me to be a dad, because
Yeah.
it's really a gift. And witnessing every milestone of your daughter like growing, it's like, wow. It's like and eventually they'll be their own person, right?
Yeah.
And I know that there will come a time, dude, that we will clash with them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna rebel with us.
Hopefully not,
And
but but
at
is
some
it,
time it will.
is it, yeah. So it's inevitable, right?
Yeah, it will happen. But
yeah.
hopefully at that time we are well prepared and know
Mm.
that we have to let them go. and
Yeah.
do their thing.
To go back to one thing that you were mentioning earlier about your daughter's mentioning about crushes and stuff like that, and I appreciate that you were mentioning that you just kind of kept the communication open.
Yeah.
You weren't like shutting it down.
Yeah.
And like
It's just being receptive
don't
to it.
think about dating ever like
Yeah.
until you're done with college. 'Cause that's the typical response of
Yeah.
parents. Finish school first. It's like she didn't say she was gonna have sex with the kid. She's just talking about she had a crush.
Yeah,
Like,
and-
there are some parents I can hear it for they're like overreacting.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad is like that too.
Yeah.
That's why I never shared to them.
Yeah.
Mm.
See, so I saw it in the first hand,
Yeah.
and I was open to my daughter and explaining that. When I was a kid, or when I had I never shared to my parents because they were always this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I learned from that. So for you,
Yeah.
I want to have this good communication
So
with
you
you.
made adjustments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I want to have this good communication too. So whatever you share to me, just share it to me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna shut it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though in my mind, like, dude, don't.
Yeah,
I don't want. But that's the thing.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course that's in our mind.
If we want our children to like have a home with us, and even though na malaki sila or they grow, they always want to come back. They always want to come back to us
Yeah.
because we're that safe space.
Yeah.
And I want to develop that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we can also, speaking of spiritual warfare as well, we can even teach them how to do battle, even
Yeah.
before sleep, like a prayer before sleep, just to remind them that if you're having nightmares, because it happens a lot, right? Especially with certain medications that causes a lot of nightmares. I've experienced. I mean, my daughter has experienced some of that thing where she just randomly wakes up, and then so I keep telling her, you always ask Jesus to protect you before you sleep. So that's a form of spiritual warfare. Ask that no darkness will invade your space while you're there. And I cleanse the room, even with with prayer. Sometimes if I remember, and not all the time, but I always make sure. Sometimes, like I just ask God to make this space holy, to make this space safe for my daughter, like expel the darkness from there, and then remind her, pray before you sleep. Always ask.
that's
Ask
where
God, yeah.
Psalm 91 comes
Mm.
in. That's also a very powerful prayer that no weapon formed against us will prosper in
Mhm.
your mighty name. So like that's one of my favorite like prayers, like to go back through, like yeah. So imagine, like, because we're being attacked every day, so
Yeah.
like no weapons formed against us will prosper in your mighty name. So like, oh yeah, so like I keep on using that. Even like, example, if I'm so sleepy, then like I want to pray for my daughter while she's asleep, or pray for our family, or pray for all protection.
That's a short and sweet one.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thought about if the spiritual can obviously manifest in the material. What can we do with our families
Mm.
to in other forms, not just pray, but what other things can we have them do to prepare for the spiritual warfare, because we know that it can manifest in the
Yeah, that's a
material.
good question. That's
Like
an
what,
excellent.
What are the ideas that obviously, like, maybe we don't want to make them too paranoid, like
Yeah.
you need to learn how to use a gun or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
of
that.
course. Yeah,
Which is
there's
actually
this
not a bad thing. I'm
Yeah.
not against that.
That's a
but I
very
mean,
good point. There's this misconception: just because you're Christian, you're not supposed to defend yourself or display. You're supposed to be meek,
Yeah.
and no. Even Peter
F
carried
that,
a
dude.
sword, right? So
Yeah.
that's the point. We're allowed to defend ourselves. We had the Crusades, and the Crusades was just a defensive
Holy
response.
war.
Yeah, holy war, and it's a response to the invasion at that time and encroaching of and even killing of a lot of Christians at that time. I'm not saying Christians didn't do any violence against others, but that was a response. So we are allowed to defend ourselves. We are allowed even to we're not going to kill indiscriminately or but we are allowed to. Or I'll teach my daughter to carry a gun just in case. I don't want her to get
That's why
violated.
for me it's very essential to like teach teach your daughter or your kids self-defense. That's why
Or jiu-jitsu, right?
I teach
Sure.
Talia boxing,
Mm.
like a bits of it,
Nice.
or we do like a play spar,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, and then I notice her punches are getting stronger. Okay, all right,
But the point there is not to do it with malice,
Yeah.
right? With malicious intent, or for the sake of violence, gratuitous violence.
use it when needed.
Yeah, when needed.
So
And-
it's good just to equip them. So going back, it's not just praying. It's we also need to equip them. How do we equip
Mm.
them? It's just by reading them the gospel, reading them
Yeah.
the good news.
Sure,
Like
sure.
and there's spiritual aspect there where it manifests in the physical realm is by strengthening the heart. Just what I discovered from praying. It strengthens your heart for difficult times. Even I'm not saying I've mastered it or
it also
Yeah, it just-
prayer is also a form of like you're trusting something.
Mm,
You're putting your faith in God. Like faith is trusting on believing in something that you cannot see. That's what faith
Mm.
is.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
by praying, you don't right when you pray because you
Mm.
you don't see, you don't actually see, but you
Mm.
believe,
Okay.
right? So,
yeah, and
that-
wasn't it, where is this? Then they say like even Jesus is like the icon of the invisible God. So yeah, even God manifested here in the physical, in our physical realm, right? So
that's how much He loved us.
yeah, so that's the thing with our spiritual aspect of here when we pray, or at least when I try praying, or I ask my daughter to pray. I even ask my daughter something, can you pray for me even before you
that's-
sleep? Pray for your mom, she's in the hospital taking care of her patients. In fact, pray for her patients as well. I've tried that. She was in the hospital. When she was hospitalized, I think we got postponed.
Oh yeah,
Remember, we were supposed to have this podcast.
The last week. It was
Yeah,
last
yeah.
week.
Yeah, something like that. My daughter was in the hospital, and there was this old lady who was dying, another bedside in the ER, so they were reviving her or something.
Wow.
So the whole time,
Next to you guys,
yeah, next to where my daughter was situated. So I just told my daughter, let's try praying for the other patients there, even
Yeah.
if we're suffering right now.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like that, It's about doing something for others as well, not just for ourselves. So prayer for me does that, and it manifests in this physical sense that we are experiencing right now. It may seem ridiculous, especially for someone who doesn't have the faith. I certainly thought it was ridiculous. Like, why would you pray? Would you mess up God's plan or something? I thought God knew everything. So what's the point of praying? But by practicing it, you begin to realize the power it gives. And it's not my power; it's God's power, and Jesus is doing it. I have nothing personally to do with it. It's just my faith that does that. But it does have something really. If you put everything into it, your whole self into it, it does something. I can't explain it. It's difficult to explain, but there is something to it. So yeah, even with our children, now that I'm trying, I'm not saying I'm a Christian or what. I want to be Christian, and I want to be. I'm a good one, but as early as possible, we can equip our children with that. Even as early as 1, I think you can start. Mentioning, planting the seed.
Saying the word
Invoking the name of
Jesus.
Jesus, Jesus here, Jesus that. She always asked, why did Jesus die? Why did Jesus die? Every day she asked me, for you, for us, for everybody, because of love. That's it. It's about love. And what is loving is to will the good of the other, according to St. Thomas Aquinas. So that's the whole point of it. And it's a beautiful thing. I think even us as human beings who are fallen, even if we live in a fallen world, love is still there. It's an evil. Some evil sometimes is just pressing you down, but you begin to realize that even with all this persecution, even with all this unnecessary unnecessary violence, there is something there, a seed that has been planted in us 2,000 years ago that still keeps on and growing and growing. And I hope we as Christian fathers can keep that alive in our daughters, and they would be planting their own seeds
Yeah.
and continuing the legacy of Jesus. So that's part of daily prayer.
Yes. And praying, as I read in the Bible, like Paul was saying in one of his letters
Mm.
to Thessalonians, is like, uh, rejoice always, pray unceasingly,
Mm.
for this is the will of God. So if you try to break it down, rejoice always is meaning like you have to find joy in everything, and it's so hard. Even
Yeah.
when you're sad, you have to
Sure.
find joy, Lord,
Mm.
and you have to pray for everything.
Mm.
For this is the will of God. So that was a command.
Mm.
So God was, he was basically giving us a command, like you have to find joy in everything that you
Mm.
do, even if you don't feel like it, even if you feel sad,
Mm.
and you have to pray for everything, meaning everything, yeah, because you have to pray for everything, even like this, the lightest thing. Lord, thank you that I'm here. We're doing
Mm.
this podcast. Or Lord, thank you for the water.
Mm.
Lord, thank you for the gift of friends.
Mm.
Lord, thank you for allowing us to be in the situation that we are in.
Mm.
And for this is the will of God. So meaning, if we do this, we are following God's will in our life.
Mm.
Sometimes, yeah, we have this question: what is God's will in my life?
Mm.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Sure.
So
Or in the world.
so
or,
if we don't know, we can start from there
Mm.
by simply doing what God said there,
Mm.
commanded us. So I try to
Mm.
share that to Natalia. Like I always tell her about those things, and she keeps on asking me. She keeps on going back about this broken world. Why does God allow evil? Something.
Mm.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
just to add on what you said is like, what I tell her is like, this is a broken world.
Yeah.
This is not the world we're supposed to live in.
Uh,
We are just here temporarily, because where is our real home? That's what I asked.
Mm.
And then she asked, well, where? So I go, it's in heaven, because God prepared it for us.
Mm.
yeah.
Could imagine this world, whatever it we have here is not from us.
Mm.
It's not. We're not gonna be able to bring it, like our riches here.
Mm.
Our no, we can't bring it to when we die. Even if you don't
Mm.
believe in Christianity, when you
Mm.
die, everything is. Di ba wala na? Kahit
Yeah,
na gaano
yeah.
ka pa kasikat,
Mm.
or like gaano
Government
ka,
gets it.
Yeah.
kahit na.
It's a great equalizer,
Yeah.
death.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's a difficult thing to kind of wrap your head around, because even as an adult, like we're so attached to this reality here, and then we're saying that this doesn't really matter. So what am I supposed to really care about, right? Like so that creates like a what do you call it?
Conflict of interest.
Yeah, like a dilemma,
A
right?
dilemma,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why should I even experience this? Like why
Yeah.
don't I just go have fun? Why do
Is
I
it-
even get a job?
Is
for
it even necessary, right? Sometimes it
because
goes through your head.
because there's because on our own we fall short to God's
Mm.
standards.
Mm.
That's why we need Him. It's
Mm.
through
Mm.
it's through Jesus Christ's death that because Jesus died for us, God can now go to us. Can now, because He cleansed away the sin, the thing that separates us from Him.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's kind of hard to. I get your point. Like, well,
Yeah.
if this is not our real home, why not just like,
Yeah.
because we can't go to heaven if we're living
Mm.
a worldly life,
Mhm.
and that's how I see it. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
One thing that I struggle with, like the living in this reality, and like you were saying earlier, Papalo, is we live in a country that's heavily Catholic
Mm.
focused, and yet there is maybe obviously not just here, but like the statistics will show that Filipinos are very gluttonous in our lifestyles.
Mm.
Like
The fiestas and all.
the data speaks for itself. Like
Yeah.
the top three killers are all lifestyle related.
Yep.
It's heart disease.
Uh-huh.
3 different kinds. Top 3. It's been like that for decades.
Yeah.
And that's just the reality of what we live in. And then like so sometimes I wonder, like, why do I even care about that? Like, should I even care about that? Like, is that how it's just supposed to be? Because like you're saying, we live in a fallen world. Like, this is Satan's turf.
Mm.
So what am I supposed to do about it? you know, and I struggle with that sometimes, like
Mm.
because I care.
I mean, so
Like,
do I.
I care that I care that my mother is suffering from a lifestyle disease. I care that
Mm.
I have lots of you know, family members and friends, and you know, I've had friends that are our age, man, that have passed away and leave behind their families due to lifestyle. And it's like, man, now they're you know, people are suffering, and you know, so that's like a thing that I struggle with
Yeah.
understanding. Like, why should I care about that?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that's true. That's a very real and it's a valid question too. Because that's even now. I mean, even if I say like I'm trying to be Christian, I still struggle with those like
we all do.
yeah,
we all
it,
do.
it never maybe that's part of the spiritual attacks, right?
Yeah.
I don't
When
know.
you're-
I don't know.
Yeah, so I don't know too.
It's a difficult thing to
But-
to know.
But then again, when that figure, when you let it grow, it does give some consolation. I think that peace that you talked about, right?
Yeah.
Like when you say like I'm at peace, it's not I'm at peace because I'm comfortable. I'm not. I'm not comfortable daily. Sometimes daily I
Yes.
feel so tired. I don't want to wake up anymore. Sometimes I just want to. I wish I could just sleep forever.
Yeah,
You know?
sure, sure.
And then never wake up. But then I have to be grateful that I get the chance to experience more, not just more of food or comfort, but more of this, that's being experienced of being a father, especially. That's why,
Experience what matters
Yeah.
most.
Mm.
Though,
Yeah.
or to experience God's
Yeah.
love. So you've said, and it's difficult to process that, and I'm still struggling. I mean, so we all do, but then again, that's why Christ calls us, I think, to follow the way, and yes, it is
Yeah.
narrow.
It is now, and just to, I think, what we live in a dark, like if we see it in a spiritual like eyes,
Mm,
like this world that we are in, it's dark.
Uh-huh.
People are like,
yeah,
blind to their wants,
yeah.
to their desires,
Mm,
Yeah.
and what Jesus does is he turns us into light
yeah,
Mm.
so that we can see, and that with the light that he gave us so that we could see, we could share it to others who are lost. That's why
Mhm.
we were that's why it's very important to like share the gospel. Like that's why how I realized it. Before I
Mhm.
was like, nah, I'm good with the D group like this.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that's too like next level.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's me, to be honest. That
Sure,
was me
sure.
last year. Like I was
It's me for like most of
Yeah.
my life.
yeah, like dude, like I'm just good sharing, but like
Yeah.
letting me speak on my testimony, or like letting me,
Mhm.
or like
share
letting
the gospel.
letting
Like
the
read.
gospel
Are you want me to read this stuff?
yeah, read this stuff. Or like even volunteer in church,
Yeah, yeah,
or volunteer in your ministry.
Yeah.
It's like medyo next level na siya.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm not that kind of person, but I did that and I followed my own will, and I felt empty.
Mm.
Even though that I'm reading the Bible, and it felt like I'm empty. Then I asked my D group leader, oh, I feel so stagnant and stuck.
Mm.
Kahit na tinatry ko maging it's because God wanted me to go to other places pa. Like when I okay, let me try. There was like a nudge for me, like to attend this like B1G thing. There was like this like ministry in CCF, where it's a B1G. It's for singles.
Oh.
So I attended it on my own. I didn't go with, because sometimes you go there as a group para comfortable ka, di ba?
Sure, sure.
So I kind of did it like a workout.
Ah,
Like
okay.
approach and workout, like
Yeah.
do something uncomfortable, like
Yeah, yeah,
Goggins mode. Like I went Goggins mode over there. So when I
Yeah.
did Goggins mode over there, then like it was a new environment, dude. Like I don't know these people, dude. Like I
Uh-huh.
was in a table. We were being vulnerable, like
Yeah.
speaking,
Mm.
and it dawned to me na that like what this guy is experiencing is like something I can help him with.
Ah.
And
Okay.
I think that's the importance of community. Is like, you may not have the answers, but you don't know that what your experience may bless others.
I see.
So that's what I learned, and
Mm.
that's how I realized. Then I started being a regular, going back to that B1G thing. Then plus the D group, it made me grow more, and it made me understand the gospel more, and
Yeah.
and the piece it made me handle things better,
Mm.
even when it's really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I saw it. That's when I learned how our job is to encourage everyone, like
Mm.
to encourage everyone, but like encourage,
Mm.
not force them, like encourage. Like
Yeah.
if this person is like feeling down, you try to talk to him, encourage him. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Then I experienced that in that setting, and it made me grow. And I approach it like how a workout should be
Yeah.
approached, like being uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
And sometimes we're so used to the comfort, like what I did, like goods na ako dito sa
Yeah. Yeah.
Bible
Yeah.
study.
Mm.
Good na ako na hindi
Yeah.
ako mag-volunteer. Too much na yan. We're,
Yeah.
we're godly. Kasi I used to mock those kind of people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who knew that I became one of the persons I used to mock to, and
Yeah.
and I never felt greater.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for that experience. So
Yeah.
so it made me grow as a person spiritually. It made me a better father to Talia, and I get to bring her there, and she gets to see all of those and indirectly learn from the
Mm.
from the sermons and
Yeah.
lectures. And yeah,
I feel like you just described kind of like the journey I had with fatherhood.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly,
it's
right?
Very similar to what you were just
yeah.
describing.
I mean, who would have thought even like 5 years ago we'd be talking about Christianity?
No way.
I mean, even
Yeah.
now, I mean, you're our first guest who's openly Christian.
Okay.
I mean, is it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
so.
Oh, am I? Wow. All right, praise God, dude.
So
Like,
most of our even I mean we still have different conversations in our podcast and
Sure.
we have so many topics, but Christianity just came along kind of like organically, I guess, with our
I feel like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's funny that it's almost like we have very similar paths, even
Mm.
though I didn't grow up here. He,
Yeah.
he grew up here. We have a very different lives, but somehow like our experiences are somewhat similar.
Yeah.
To this point.
Yeah.
It's like like the Lord works in mysterious
Yeah.
ways, right?
it is like I'm so grateful. Like I have so much respect to fathers. Like people who I really like talking to a lot of dads. Like and how's fatherhood? Like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
because
Mm.
it's something that it's hard to. It's like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
You're right. It's like a brotherhood.
Absolutely,
Like,
yeah.
dude, I understand what you're going
Yeah.
through. Like, and then it's so nice because only fathers can understand,
Mm.
right? You know that feeling. So,
Definitely.
so I'm very grateful. That's why I keep on watching testimonies or like stories of fathers because you get to learn different struggles and how they navigate it.
Yeah.
And
Mhm,
you get to
mhm.
appreciate na I thought I was suffering already, but
Yeah.
this dude, this father is
And be-
suffering.
And best of all, we get to learn from the greatest fathers
Yeah.
of all.
And he did this all like he connected us. He let us appreciate all the fathers or like
Yeah.
about fatherhood because he is our ultimate father.
Mm.
So we have to get so for that like my respect for God grew even more. Like wow,
Mm.
you should. Before, to be honest, I mocked him.
Mm.
Like dude, like before.
Yeah.
I was so
Totally.
angry. I was so angry.
We're all
at
on
him.
the same boat.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that too. I mean, it takes a certain humility to say that. I
Yeah.
mean, when you say I'm wrong, I was wrong, right? And then
I was wrong.
I was blind and now I see.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
really blind because
Yeah.
I allowed myself to be blind.
Yeah. It's almost like that's what we preferred, right?
And before I was so caught up in my own feelings, like I trusted my feelings
Yeah.
because of this. I think I really blame Hollywood for this because I was really a fan of Star Wars growing up. Like search your feelings, Obi-Wan.
Ah.
Search your feelings, Luke. Like so, if you search your feelings, the thing about feelings is it's unstable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you
Absolutely.
feel like
And even
I feel-
unreliable sometimes.
yeah, unreliable. Like I
Mm.
feel like I'm hungry, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like eating Cheetos.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like, but do you really want Cheetos?
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
really need
yeah,
it?
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a decision. So
Mm.
that's when I learned.
Sure.
So I don't trust my feelings, but I trust what's essential or what's important.
I think
Yeah.
you're touching on something interesting too, because there's there's a lot of talk in when I listen to these podcasts about Christianity and um, the whole New Age movement
Yeah.
is huge,
Mm.
right? And I just I've been watching these lately, and there are great YouTube channels that are advocating the Christian lifestyle, the Catholic lifestyle,
Mm.
and they'll go to point out things in Hollywood that are demonic and that
There are
are
a
being
lot.
promoted
There are
Mm.
a
a
lot,
lot, right? A lot.
super a lot.
And they're celebrities are talking about their tarot cards, and now there's like all these witch movies,
Mm.
right?
Palm
And
readings.
And all this like stones,
Stones, yeah,
gems,
gems.
Crystals,
gems
yeah.
that they wear, the
Um,
crystals.
Yeah.
Although those are, in terms of the natural elements, I think there are things that can be admired, but to be like worshipped and say that they have special powers over our lives, can be a bit extreme.
Yeah,
right?
more than God.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
so
That's like a whole different level.
Yeah.
Like I definitely believe like these things have energy. That's part of how the world works. Like we know everything has an energy, and energy can be absorbed, energy can be passed. You bring energy through your body. Like all that is like it made sense. Like maybe too much sense for me at some points in my life, and I was into that kind of stuff. I was
Mm.
going to meditation groups and things like that, and doing all that, and
they did some like grounding things.
Yeah.
Good.
like
Yeah.
I
It's
still
pretty
think
good too. Like
Yeah,
barefoot, barefoot
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think those things are to a certain level can be helpful.
Yeah.
Right. And like I don't completely disagree that a plant like cannabis is completely harmful
Mm.
if it's used in certain ways.
Like
Just
for cancer
Yeah.
patients when
Yeah,
to
cancer
Well, for
patients,
recreation.
for
For their-
recreation or just for escape.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the things. Just like
Mm.
there was a point in the past. I think alcohol was even prescribed,
Mm.
like as
Even
as
smoking, and that's true.
relaxer.
Smoking was
Yeah.
prescribed by the doctor to help them relax.
Yeah, but to go back to like the
Mm.
the whole Hollywood thing and the new age stuff and thinking about spiritual warfare, like those are difficult things to deal with, right? Because like we go to movie theaters,
Yeah,
like, we
yeah.
have movie nights with our
Mm.
Yes,
kids,
yes,
our
yes,
families, right, our relatives. We go out and experience these things,
Yeah.
and it's such a crazy thing to like be intertwined with when we're trying to like promote like these values, and yet
Mm.
we're going to watch whatever which movie was famous recently, and now these celebrities are all outspoken about it, and
Yeah.
it's a weird
Yeah.
weird thing.
Yeah.
It
right?
is.
It's funny too that you mentioned that Hollywood has that kind of influence, or the theaters. I forgot the name of this philosopher, modern philosopher, who did say this statement that the theater being the new cathedral.
Yeah.
For me, it took me a while to understand it because I'm a lover of cinema too, and I study film from just for as a hobby though.
Yeah.
But then when I thought about it deeply with that statement, like yeah, it is true. And then who do we worship? It's the celebrities.
Yeah.
The celebrities.
And
And,
then-
the celebrities are all flawed. dude.
Yeah.
Totally,
I even have
man.
directors
Yeah.
where
Most of
I
them.
really to the point where it was more than admiration. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to be this
Yeah.
this
I
kind
really-
of filmmaker or this cinematographer, and I knew all their works.
Yeah.
And I
Like
loved.
who was that? Who was your like admired like
For me,
filmography?
now at this point, it would have to be Terrence Malick,
Okay.
my favorite director of all time. Of course, Scorsese is there.
Scorsese's
The
good,
classics,
yeah.
yeah. Spielberg, of course. Who else? Tarantino. Although when I watch it now, it's too much gratuitous violence, but I
Yeah.
understand his.
Yeah. It's art.
It's more
It's
like
art.
aesthetic. Yeah, violence is more like aesthetic. The blood is even like an off red that he uses. So yeah, cinema can be that. It can be that powerful. So this philosopher who said like cinema as the new the theater as a new cathedral. I understand it now because yeah, we go to church in cathedral or in uh in that space, and that we take our families to the cinema, right? And we watch together.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah,
would
yeah.
even memorize who the actors were, the
Yeah,
music,
yeah.
and everything, and it becomes like the center of our attention or world, or even our weekly.
Yeah, I'm so guilty of
Yeah,
that.
thing.
Yeah. I followed certain actors before. Like I was so fan of their work. Example, one was one of my favorite movies of all time was The Dark Knight. Christopher
Oh,
Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, of
Christopher
course.
Nolan
Yeah.
is one of my favorite filmmaker.
Yeah.
Especially when Heath Ledger like portrayed the Joker.
The Joker.
Was so legendary.
Yup.
And if he and I researched how he got into that madness
Mm.
to the level
Locked
that
himself up, right?
locked himself in a hotel
Hotel.
room.
Went
Wow.
method acting.
Yeah, locked himself in that hotel room reading all the sadistic Joker comics he could read to
What?
incorporate that character.
Yeah, just to
Wow.
get in character.
And
Whew.
before, wow, galing. I was so amazed before, like, wow, galing ni Heath Ledger. But looking at it now,
Yeah.
dude,
It,
when
it
I
could have destroyed
realized-
him, right?
no, it destroyed him. He
Yeah.
died, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
This is where why I love Jim Caviezel as an actor, because
Yeah,
he knew
dude.
how to separate. He
Yes.
said this when he made when I think he had a role where he was a villain or something, but he did say in one interview I recall, like, okay, if I'm playing a character that's kind of like a deranged or a psychopath, I wouldn't dwell in it. I would even pray that I wouldn't be absorbed by it, but I will play it professionally as I can,
Mm.
but I wouldn't get too into it.
Yes.
So that he separated that from
Yeah.
acting it too much and becoming it the character.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
because he's a really strong Christian. I mean he played Jesus. I mean
Yeah, the thing about method acting though is
Yeah.
it's so scary because Terrence Howard, if you watch Joe Rogan's
Oh, yeah.
interview, dude, like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
so scary, dude. Like, the thing about method acting is like you allow yourself to get possessed.
Oh,
yeah. The
So,
character
yeah,
will possess
yeah,
you.
yeah, the
Yeah.
character comes to you. This is what
Mm.
exactly word for
Wow.
word what Terrence Howard said.
Yeah.
He goes to a dark room, empties himself, and you wait for something to come in. Then he goes
Wow.
up and takes the shot.
Wow, that's
Like, dude,
intense.
he said that like, oh my god,
Whoa.
like Joe Rogan was laughing, but then he was like really dead serious when he was.
Yeah.
And when I watched the other, I'm sure that this guy is playing, so I watch other podcasts that like
He said
Terrence
the same
Howard.
thing.
he said the same thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
He said the same thing,
That's
and
intense,
then that's
dude.
what Heath Ledger
Wow.
also says. Like, dude, like he had to empty himself to allow like
Whoa.
maybe the demon. Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
when the cameras turn on, they're like a totally different person.
Oh.
Wow.
So for people
That's
who
intense.
for people who don't know who God is, like that was art.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's so magic. That's the
Yeah.
magic, and magic is like witchcraft, right?
Magic, yeah.
So to relate this as to fatherhood, there's a funny story. It's like Natalia, like we were a fan of movies, right? So we watch Encanto, we
Sure,
watch
yeah,
like
yeah. All
Moana.
that
There's like
stuff,
all the
yeah.
there's just like mana power.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Then I look at her and say, "Isn't that witchcraft?"
Yeah, yeah.
I always say that. Then Natalia says, "What?" And then I always ask Natalia, why don't they mention God in the in these movies?
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Mm.
Never. Always about the stones,
Uh-huh.
all about the magic.
Yeah,
Then
yeah.
Talia said, "Can't you just let me enjoy the movie? Don't destroy the movie. I know you're making me feel guilty. You're sorry. I'm just okay. I know that, but this is just fun. Okay, I know the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah. Just checking.
Just checking. I just reminding you that
Yeah.
it's an influence.
Yeah.
You might forget. Like,
It's better for her to identify it.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
like, come on, you're destroying. Don't make me enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
You
gee.
can't avoid it these days,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and now they have streamlined it. Netflix, it's all there now in a tablet.
Everything.
Yeah,
like
so
Disney
Oh, yeah.
Plus.
that's
So
It's all by design.
it's all by design. Even
Absolutely.
like, yeah, even like the LGBT,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
their community
stuff
is
is
like
all there, man.
they incorporate it in the
movie.
in the movies. dude.
Yeah, yeah. There was this one I came across not too long ago. I was telling Doc Marcos about it, and he knows it too. It's like a Netflix movie, and it's about a shape-shifting girl all right, shape shifting girl, and it's just like the scene is like night, and I forget what the whole premise of the story is, but one of the main characters is like a gay knight, and with the main character is a shapeshifter. Okay, so to go back to the gay knight, his name is Golden Loin.
Golden Loin.
I was like, really?
Even the name is very
Golden
suggestive.
Loin? Like he's a
Just-
gay knight. Like, come on, dude. Like you're not even trying to hide it
man.
at this point.
Face to face.
Okay.
Creativity has
Yeah.
taken a
Yeah. So about
a U-turn.
halfway through the movie, I kind of suspected already. Okay, there's a shape shifting girl. What's gonna happen eventually? I was like, okay, get through about halfway through the movie. There's a gay knight. Obviously, from the beginning, he was a gay knight. I'm like, all right, so what's up with this shape shifting girl? So about halfway through the movie, it becomes very obvious. Then the characters start having this serious conversation about shifting into another gender. And it's like, really? Let's just stop watching this.
That's when the non-binary things,
Yeah,
that's
the
the things
agenda
that
is so in your face.
in,
dude.
in your face. Anyway, this I already like I already told Talia. I already informed her about it. Sabi ko, because I try to prepare her as early as now. Like if ever
Yeah, you have to.
if ever God
Yeah.
already if ever God allows us to be in the States, I just want to tell you there will come a time that people will
Yes.
influence you and tell you
That's
that
one of my
this-
fears too. Yeah.
this and that. But I need you to know what the truth is.
and
Yeah.
you have to stand your ground.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
You have to know that there is only two genders.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
God created man and woman.
Right,
I want you
right.
to remember that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a hard pill to swallow. I
Yeah.
know.
We're all in
But-
the same boat here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I know.
Enclake's wife, Enclake's
Yeah,
wife. It's like
But I'm
we're all
slowly
good.
preparing myself with that
Yeah. Here we
go,
possibility.
man.
There we go. So
Yeah.
we're basically preparing
So that's how
ourselves
you're doing
to.
it. You're just
Yeah.
that's how I explain it too.
I don't wanna.
I mean, it's not being like we're trying to be dicks or
No, we're just
yeah.
telling you.
It's just I hold the same standard with me as a father, as a straight dude, with other
Straight dudes.
other yeah. I hold the same standard in terms of sexual. What do you call this? Our when I say lust is lust, whether you're gay, you're straight,
Right.
or
right.
bi or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, I hold the same standard with myself, with others. So Christianity is not bigotry. That's a misconception. They think like Christians are bigoted against LGBTQ or
We're not.
women. No. If you only knew the figures of women in Christianity, oh my God, some of the most feminist, the true feminism that I have ever witnessed in all the stories that I have ever heard. All I have to do is just even point to Mary. What did she say? I mean, if you remember the angels, right? One of the lines there, I think it was in the second. It said, "Be it done unto me according to your word." It's the submission to God, but it's the power of the feminine there, being Mary, never said no. She had a choice when she said when the angel appeared to her, she could have said no, I don't want to. But she did to being able to carry God. I mean, and that is a heavy task. But a woman was chosen. God could have just magically had Jesus appear, but it had to go through a woman, right?
Humble.
Yeah, then
humble
even the humility that she displayed, like be it done unto me according to your word, that is such a powerful a state. But that's why even when I say that, I try to emulate it. The angel of the Lord declared unto Mary, be it done unto me according to your word. And then I try to like whatever you say, God. I try to. I fall, but that's the message, the whole message of it. And even at the wedding of Cana, what did she say? Do whatever he tells you. If you remember, so it's the woman always. And who did the woman in the Old Testament? What did the woman do in the Old Testament? The first woman is attempt to tempt Adam, even, right? Okay, eat this. I ate this, and then Adam didn't take responsibility for it. And then here comes Jesus, and then Mary, who is considered the new Eve. So it's kind of like this even redemptive properties, I guess,
It's the
of
redemption.
yeah, the
of
redemption.
women.
And then that is the power of femininity. Mary is not just if I when I've heard enough, especially from artists like Madonna taking the name of it, and then taking it, like femininity is taking off your clothes. That's
Yeah, yeah,
empowerment.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Like no. True empowerment of the woman is like that. It's like being able to bear it all. She already knew. I think when she gave birth to Jesus, I guess she probably had that vision that it's gonna be difficult, it's gonna be hard, and I'm gonna suffer for it. But she never said no, and that to me displays what the essence of a woman, and she happens to be veiled all the time. And there is something like that I would like my daughter also to appreciate, and through that she will be a good follower of Jesus. I hope, I pray every day that she would follow Christ wherever life may take her, and she wouldn't bend the knee to any king. I mean, Revelations 19 describes Jesus, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. No wonder why dictators are so afraid of that, of Jesus, because they know that even if they're the king of the hill, there's always this man that will overshadow them. No matter how, if you're Stalin or Mao or Hitler, none of them can compare to Christ. That's why they always try to deface him, always try to persecute Christians, because they know that we follow a king that they can never overshadow. And that's something that, going back to persecution, that we have to prepare for it, and our children will have to prepare for it, because there will come a time. It's even in prophecy, right? In the Bible, I think, in that there will be another great persecution that even much worse than what we have imagined. And I hope it will not be our time in during this time, but if it comes, are we ready? That's always been I'd probably be Judas at this point. Just to be honest, I'm just being real here. If that happens to me and I have to protect my family, I'd probably turn away just to stay alive. But whoever, what did the scripture say? Whoever kanang mag hold on to this life will
Lose it.
lose it, right?
Yeah.
And but it's a very difficult proposition. I mean, really, like
Those that
getting
choose
beheaded.
me will be saved.
Yeah,
or
come to
something
think
like
of beheading, this year happens to be the 10th anniversary of the 21 Coptic Christians who were beheaded by ISIS. I sent you a trailer.
that. Oh yeah, that animation.
Yeah, I invite everybody to support that film. Jonathan Brumi, who's the executive producer of it, it's called The 21 Martyrs. It's only 13 minutes long. We'll send a link to the video, so hopefully you can all watch it. It's a really powerful film. It's in animation too.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been made for like over 5 years, I think, but it's a really powerful film. I mean, those 21 martyrs who were beheaded never wavered. They were offered money, they were offered freedom, but no, they did not. They had families as well, but they chose to have their deaths there, and really proclaim the name of Jesus till the end. And that's a very difficult thing to do. And Tertullian, one of the early apologists in the 2nd century, was one of the early church fathers, did say that the blood of the martyrs is the seed of the church. So I think the challenge of for us Christians, especially as fathers, is that we should be prepared. I'm not, certainly, but I pray every day for the strength for all the Christians who are persecuted out there worldwide. Say a prayer for them every night. There are places out there that Christians cannot even practice or pray in public or even in private, the privacy of their own homes. We're fortunate enough, at least we can say a prayer. So let's do that in honor, especially for the 21. They're actually even venerated by. They're not Catholics. They're Coptic Christians, but the Catholic Church did consider them as martyrs, and they're on their way to sainthood, I think. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, in honor of their sacrifice. It's the 10th year anniversary. Please do watch it. Now we'll post it link there. So yeah, I think that's the going back to persecution. We've Christians have always been persecuted, and we will
Always
be.
will.
Yeah, always will be.
Always,
Till
because
the
if you're
end.
not,
Yeah,
if you're a friend of the world,
yeah,
Jesus is your enemy.
yeah,
He said that.
yeah.
And just to follow up on what you said when you said like if ever the time comes when like the second coming comes, prophecy is being fulfilled, Jesus and wars will rise, Satan will come again, but he will be eventually. We all know the end of the story.
Mm,
He will be defeated.
yeah. That's our strength, right?
Yeah,
Because
so
we know the ending.
yeah, the ending is that Jesus will always win.
Yeah.
And Satan's really doing his double time work.
Because he knows it's already
he knows
been
his
defeated.
time is
Yeah.
near.
We're like the mop-up crew.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
you can see like either he's making a lot of things happen instantly because he wants to gather as much souls as he can. So at the same time that he's growing or like influencing others, it's supposed to be us also as Christians or like well who loves Jesus, do the same thing, advancing his word
Mm,
at the same rate as Satan is.
yeah.
So that's the battle over there. And the greatest trick again, the greatest trick that the devil ever did is like
Convince you, right? That
convincing you that he does not exist.
Yes.
All right.
And
So
unfortunately, a lot of people don't believe in
Di mo na
the
tinuod mga
demon.
demonyo.
Yeah. And I found out the hard way. One day I just woke up, look at the mirror, and I saw it in me.
In you?
I mean, I saw it. It was me.
Ah.
Sometimes you're just oblivious to it.
Yeah.
This evil is everywhere. Even
Oh,
sometimes it's in you.
Generational.
Yeah. It doesn't take a blind man to see evil in this world.
Oh yeah.
Yep, unfortunately. But the good news is, there's Jesus. So.
Jesus is there. So
Amen.
So you were saying that you were afraid, right? You're
Yeah.
afraid in a way like you think that you're not prepared.
Mhm.
I think we should. I have another perspective for that.
Yeah,
My
okay.
perspective is like, I know that I am not worthy.
Mm.
By my own, I'm not worthy because I'm sinful, but because you died for me, Lord, because you died for me, Jesus,
Mm.
I am now worthy. That's how I see it. That's what gives me confidence right now
Mm.
of knowing that if ever Jesus comes, I know that it is because of him. Me, I am not worthy, but because of his death, because of what he did on the cross, he made me worthy. So by clinging to that belief, I believe that I could be ready.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. Rather than like before, I used to think I used to have that fear na hey, we're inferior ba ay di mo ko worthy ka na. Especially I honestly I get triggered before when do you know when people ask me when Christians are like do you know where you're going when you die?
Yeah.
All right, like of course you want to be humble. I don't know, maybe I'm not perfect yet, so maybe purgatory or you want to settle on that like standard, but
Okay.
but I think we have to understand the power of faith and what Jesus did on the cross is like when he died and he saved us. So by believing in that, clinging to his word, and like believing with all of your heart that he died for you, it will give you eternal life. Just like the thief on the cross, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Right? That's the greatest example. Imagine that dude. He's like the most clutch person in the world. Like
Yeah.
buzzer beater.
Mm.
Like the sinner. Like right,
Then-
Lord.
Poster boy of,
Of sin.
Saved on the last minute.
Yeah, last minute, like for the win. Lord, don't.
It's like Luka Doncic in the playoff, right?
dude. Like that's like ice in my veins. Yeah, I'm going to heaven. Last minute. Imagine all of his life, he felt
Yeah.
the guilt. He thought he wasn't worthy. Just like
But
us.
he was humble enough.
He was humble enough.
Yeah.
That's
To-
all. See the power. That's how much Christ loved us.
Yeah.
So if
beautiful.
If we see that in that perspective, like dude, it's just it's that that's the thing I need to just do,
Yeah.
but it's the hardest.
Mm.
We block ourselves.
Yeah, we sometimes we block ourselves, or like we create the scenarios that we are not,
Yeah.
because we allow this like influences or things that may hinder us.
Right.
But I believe it's not it's easy to say that that's the path, but it's really hard to do. That's when actions speak louder than words. So you have to lead by your actions. So by your fruits, you would
Mm.
know if someone is you would know if someone is saying like someone is lying, right? Because like you say, oh, I'm very godly, I go to church,
Mm.
but by his actions he's
Yeah.
been cheating, he's
Yeah.
like sleeping everywhere, doing drugs there.
Yeah. No
So
shortage of that.
yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of that in this world. So I believe that that's one of the things I try to I will not speak, I will just lead. So it's the hardest thing, like a fatherhood, it's hard.
Yeah. It's a sacrifice too.
Yeah, I've been a hypocrite to my daughter. Like, you don't smoke, you don't do drugs, but okay, when she's asleep, I smoke and do drugs.
Yeah.
Right?
Just to keep you calm.
Yeah. So I don't want to live a double life. And if this is the time that my daughter will get to will kanang ito yung time na they're moldable, and we are the parang like our influence is very great on them, and this is the time that I should model.
Mm.
I like how you brought it
Yeah.
full circle.
Amen.
There
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's how I want to end it also. Like,
Yeah.
we have to model it to them,
Mm.
because in time, if they remember that,
Yeah.
when they go to their like confusing age, or when they start to be confused, they come to think, what would my dad do?
Yeah.
What would
Mm.
or something like that. Or if my dad was here, what would we do? My dad would tell me to pray, or my
Yeah.
dad would like to trust God, or something like that.
And hopefully, when they listen to us in the future of this episode, Jesus loves you.
Jesus loves you. Yeah.
Yeah, let's end it on
Yeah, that was a good. That was a good.
Alright, that's
Amen,
good.
man.
Amen.
That was
amen.
really
That
good.
was a very-
Yeah,
like
thank you
a-
for really sharing.
All right, no problem. Very
because you
happy
are-
to be here.
For us, you're like the veteran here. I mean,
I'm not
we've
the
only
veteran.
been in this path for
Yeah.
me personally, not even
I'm like a
2
white
years.
belt, dude. I just
Like-
put on my
Yeah,
white belt.
I'm a white belt too.
I wish I was a veteran, but I'm not. Just like you, I just like I don't know. It just came. I just
Yeah.
I was just like in this journey last year. So
Yeah.
and-
May I
and
appreciate you taking the time to
Yeah,
come
very
here and
grateful
share
to be
your
here. Yeah.
experience with us. But before we end this, we would like to impart you with a gift. It's chotki.
Whoa.
So it's also known as a kambutskini. So the Eastern Christians they use that the prayer of the heart. So yeah, just to for those who are not familiar, this is chotki, the Eastern
Chotki.
the chotki. So you can pray with this the beads here, the Jesus prayer,
Nice.
and in between you can do some variations, but they do that for meditation as well, and then the prayer from the heart. And this one is really romantic. I didn't even know that they had a tassel to wipe away the tears when they're when they're like deep into prayer.
All right.
So yeah, so every bead is like a Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner. And they just go. Sometimes they go for 15 minutes or hours, even some of the monks. that so yeah, I hope it keeps you as well in prayer.
Make sure. It will remind me. Thank you, though.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's from Papa Ben and I. And yeah, thank you very much, Nico,
Thank
for
you.
brother, for taking the time, and do pray for us
Of
that we
course, I
may.
always pray for you guys. All right.
We always ask our guests or even the audience and pray for our brother as well, and all of us, and let's continue to love one another and be united with Christ. And any parting words, Papa Ben?
Amen.
Amen.
All right.
That's
Thank you
it.
so much. We'll see you again at the
See you
next
again.
episode. God bless you all, people, and have a good night.